Ladies and gentlemen, howdy and aloha. We are here and you are there, and we appreciate you tuning in for another episode of Airey Bros Radio. Tonight we are previewing the 2025 Jayhawk Conference Region 6 Cross Country Championships, hosted by Colby Community College on Friday, October 24th in Colby, Kansas. We've got coaches from some of the top programs in the NJCAA to break down from the charts, key matchups, and who's ready to make noise when it counts. Before we get rolling, y'all know the drill. Hammer that like button. Make sure you're subscribed on YouTube. Drop a comment or a question in the live chat. We'll work them in as we're going. As always, this episode is fueled by Black Sheep Endurance. And let's not forget why we're here. We're here to shine a light on coaches, athletes, and programs we wish we had access to growing up while we were going through the recruiting process. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we've got a packed evening for you tonight. Tonight's lineup is going to start in just a minute here with Mark Emerson from Butler Community College, a returning guest. The men are ranked number 4 in the NJCAA, and the women are currently ranked 12th. Then at 7:20, Jafet Molinares from Hutchinson Community College is going to be joining us. The men are number 2 and the women are number 8. Following that up at 7:40, Mathew Scott from Colby Community College. The men are ranked 10th and the women are ranked 25th. At 7:40, Cameron Reith from Cowley College is going to be joining us. The men are ranked 5th and the women are 23rd. At 8 o'clock, Jeremy Windsor is going to be joining us from Highland Community College. At 8:20, Juliette Rios from Garden City is going to be joining us. The men are ranked 9th and the women are 13th. At 8:40, Trey Burton from Neosho County College will be joining us. And at 9, Mathew Scott from Colby College will be joining. Sorry, there was a typo in there. That's my bad. This is what happens when you do it live sometimes, ladies and gentlemen. But without further ado, we're rocking and rolling over here. We are welcoming Coach Mark Emerson from Butler Community College. As I said, the men are ranked 4th and the women are ranked 12th. Sorry about that.
Hey guys,
My bad. What's up, Mark?
not much. How you guys doing?
We're doing well. We can hear you, but we can't see you.
Okay, hold on. Is that better?
There he is.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Hey, how you doing, sir? Good to see you again.
You too, guys. You too, man. Good to be back. So,
Yeah, we're stoked to have you back. Things have been rocking and rolling, and you guys are doing pretty solid right now. So we want to get you in here, talk a little bit about the regional meet and the Jayhawk Conference Championships, and maybe your thoughts on heading up to Fort Dodge in a couple more weeks.
yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah. 100%.
So, how's the season treating you?
It's good, man. You know, we've had some adversity for sure. I think every season you have that, right? Some type of adversity. We've had some ups, we've had some downs, but I think right now we're feeling good. We look good at least. So I'm hoping we can put ourselves in position to do something awesome, coming up on region here in the next couple of days. So
Who should we be looking out for going into the region meet?
yeah, so we got our top 5 all returned. Same top 5 as last year, basically. Emmanuel Odom's going to be at the front there. Another one to watch, I would say, is Safiso. Safiso has been working incredibly hard, and we actually went down to Texas 2 weeks ago. Awesome meet, actually, because I'm gonna sidetrack here for a sec, but they had the horses out there start the race. They had a cannon start the race, and we ended up winning on the guy side, but they gave belt buckles, which was pretty cool. So
Yes.
I'll show you guys. Actually, I got it right here, but this beautiful baby right here.
What?
Yeah,
That's
so
a belt buckle.
Yeah,
That's a title belt.
yeah, yeah, title belt for sure. Yeah, and the kids got some too, so they got something to keep with them forever. So
That's awesome. I had to run 100 miles to get my belt buckles.
nice.
Coach, what race was that? That's a really cool award.
Old Glory Gallop. So Cameron Reith, the Cowley coach, actually, he said, "Hey, you might want to check out this race. Kind of cool." we were looking at races. I was like, okay, we'll give it a try, and they hold it on a ranch this year. They changed locations, AP Ranch, and it's pretty cool because it's on a ranch, obviously, but like they have a building filled with like workout equipment, TVs. It's a gym and on a ranch, and they have the cross country course right there too. Um, yeah, Old Glory Gallup. They had a country band out there playing during the race. So I recommend it to anyone that is looking for a race next year that wants an awesome experience, especially for the kids. Man,
Yeah.
it was awesome. So
Who was the host school for that?
DBU, Dallas Baptist.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, as we've been doing this, we've learned that the Jayhawk conference is probably the toughest conference in the country, especially when it comes to cross country. So it's not like you're going to get any gifts going to the conference or the region meet. There's going to be, it's almost like a mini national meet. And we're going to talk with some of those coaches after you as well this evening. But who do you see as your main competition on Friday?
Yeah, we got. I mean, there's some good competition, obviously, as you said, and um, I know we like to say, SEC of JUCO, right? But I mean, I know on the guys' side, we got 4 of the top 10 teams, and I think girls, it's pretty close, and I think Hutch obviously is, got a good squad on both sides. Garden City's out there competing well, and Colby guys too. Coach Scott over there is doing some good work, man. So nothing's given, obviously, but that's why we work hard, prepare, and get ready for this meet, man. And so we're excited to see how we do, and should be good, so.
What's the mindset heading in? Because I know some schools, some conferences, some regions, it's kind of like a tempo run for some people because of the competition. But you've got to come guns a blazing if you're going after that title. Is the mindset going in, coming out with the championships and not even thinking about nationals?
I mean, that's the goal. I
Yeah.
mean, we cut the mileage a little bit this week to get ready, and I mean, we'll go up a little bit next week, and then we'll go back down. But that's the goal at the end of the day. We never, this season we never really talked about championships that much throughout the season. But we met this week yesterday and met with the kids and stuff and said, hey, this is kind of what we're looking at, and this is what it's going to take to win, and I think everyone was bought in terms of like, okay, this is what we got to do. We have to play our part, right? That was the big thing. Told them, hey, we have to play our part. Everyone has to play their part. And if we do that, hey, I'm not going to guarantee you guys win, but it gives you guys a shot, right? So, and as a competitor, as a racer, as a college athlete, like just being able to be a part of it and be in it to win it, that's the fun part, win or lose, right? Like obviously it'd be nicer to win, right? But yeah, so
Will the guys be showing up with their buckles?
we should, yeah.
You
We
should.
should get cowboy hats too. One of my international athletes, Lel Limo, he he got a cowboy hat at the beginning of the
Nice.
year, actually. I said, in America, this is an expression we say, and I got him to say yeehaw for the first time.
Yes.
Sometimes I'll see him in the hallway and he'll be like, yeehaw. I'm like, yeehaw, yeehaw. So
Does he wear the
Mark,
hat
sorry.
regularly? Sorry,
he
Jim.
does sometimes, yeah, he does. Yeah. Around campus and stuff. So
That's
he
awesome.
rocks it,
That's
man.
awesome. Mark, you said you had your 5 guys back from last year. What is different from those guys this year than it was last year?
That was a great question, man. Great question, and that's something I've thought about past couple weeks. I think last year, we had a lot of success and we were all freshmen, right? And we came out and we were racing fast early and winning these meets. And, our cross country program wasn't to that standard before. And, we had people telling us how great we were, you know, oh, you guys are third, fourth in the nation, this, that, and the third. And, ultimately, I'll be honest, I talked to some of the kids about it. I just don't think we knew how to handle that, right? Um, just a bunch of freshmen on the team, what else would you expect, and that I think that creeped into training a little bit and, underestimating the competition. And ultimately, we still ran well at the national meet, right? Guys took fourth, but, could have we done better? Maybe. But this year, I think our guys know what to expect, and they know coming into the region meet, coming into the national meet, what it's like now, what to expect. It's funny because our girls now, a lot of freshmen, and out of our top 5, we only had 1 return. So it's different in terms of them because now it's like teaching them, hey, we can kind of do this. Like if you look at it this way, you ladies could do something, and shifting that perspective to you ladies can be competitive and you can do something special, and so that's been kind of the change a little bit on both sides there, but
On the ladies' side, who do we have to keep an eye out on?
yeah. So Elizabeth Hernandez, she was All-American. She returned for us this year. She'll be up there somewhere, probably second, third, fourth. She'll be our front runner. I think we got good depth, I would say, which is nice. And we got a couple freshmen, Tarika Clark. She kind of anchors us at number 5. She's been improving a lot, and she comes in and she works hard. She's a grinder. I like Tarika because you can just tell her, hey, this is what we need to do. And you can coach Tarika hard, and she'll take it, and she'll be like, okay, coach, this is what we got to do, right? Ellie Calloway's another one. She's a freshman, right up the road. She's a beast. She's had an awesome summer. Madison Bush as well. She's PR big time this year, past meet, and she's only a freshman. She's about 30 minutes away from here. So our depth, I think, is what's going to be, to look out for sure there. But yeah, so. And we got another one. We got a couple more.
So you had all your guys return, and you had a woman who was an All-American return. What's the secret to that?
To what? Wait, say that again. I'm
That
sorry.
to have All-Americans return when they have eligibility left. Sometimes there's coaches that come out and poach them and want to take them out of junior college. How'd you keep them all?
I could tell you that. I could tell you some stories, man. I could tell you some stories.
Well,
But,
I remember last time we talked.
dude, it is ruthless. I feel like I'm fighting off some of these 4-year coaches sometimes with whatever, But I think at the end of the day, the way I treat our athletes, they're more than an athlete to me, and they know I care about them. And I got an awesome team, and they're great people. And so, they reciprocate it in return. And I know those kids, this team, no matter what, I will care about them forever because I always knew that they had my back, and they will know that, and so, but yeah.
Have you guys locked horns at all this season with any other teams in the conference so far?
We raced Colby at Mizzou at Gans Creek. Garden City, I don't think so. Hutch, we didn't see. So it's going to be kind of new. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be see what happens. I think on the day, obviously courses are different, and we can speculate and say this is what's going to happen, this, that, and the third. But we're going to see what happens and see where everyone's at, and let the chips fall where they may. So
What's the course like at Colby?
hilly. We
Hilly.
had the region meet there a few years back, and it's kind of a grinder. It's at the golf course out there. So we've been preparing for that. We've been doing hills this season, getting ready for the region course. We get out to Nationals, Iowa. That's a faster course now, but region, it's kind of tough, man. So we've been getting ready for that for sure, and letting the kids know we're gonna go out there. We leave tomorrow. We'll load at 11:45. Leave at 12. It's a 4-hour drive, and we'll go straight to the course, go check out the course, walk the course, and do our pre-meet out there and stuff, and get ready. So.
As two gentlemen that have driven through Kansas multiple times on I-70, it's funny to hear someone say that a course is hilly.
Yeah, Western Kansas hilly course. It's like, what? Yeah.
You mentioned the the returning All-Americans, the returning five, and some of the 4-year coaches and stuff like that. But those individuals are moving on. Do they have they secured locations for 4-year schools next year?
Yeah, so we got two. We got Elizabeth, our number one girl, and then our 800 guy, he's our number 5 guy, Ishmael. They graduate in December. So I've been sending emails out. They've been talking to coaches and stuff, and they'll be going on visits after the season for sure. Our ones that graduate in May, we've been a little patient, maybe we're gonna drop some track times and see what we can do there, and then see what offers we can get, so but yeah.
It's funny that you have a fifth man that's an 800-meter runner. That is something that you can tell when an 800-meter runner is running cross country that is not from the United States, because the international students have range and or they don't care what distance is. They just want the opportunity to compete. Whereas, it's even hard to get high school kids that run the 800 to want to come out and run a 5K in cross country.
Yeah, yeah. And then like, oh my God, I gotta run 10 times my distance. And it's like, oh my God. Yeah. But
Mark,
yeah,
sorry, you can
no, go
finish.
ahead.
With the course on Friday, obviously, I don't want you to give away any of your strategy, but do the guys tend to run together as a pack? Do they tend to go out fast, or they tend to let other people do the work for them?
So we talked about this a little bit without letting it out a little bit. They what's been our success a lot's been running our race. So Jimmy Joe might not have the same race strategy as Timmy, and so making sure we run our own race, and at the end of the day, you know do our job, and so running our own race is the big thing. And so yeah, you guys will see Friday.
I'm curious, Mark, as a high school cross country coach, we talk a lot to the kids about like a 1 through 5 split and a 5-person average. Is that a topic of discussion at the college level? Or is that coming up in race strategies and stuff?
Yeah, no, you're right on, man. Yeah, I mean, as as a coach, it's like, if we can tighten up that gap as much as possible, at the end of the day, I want to say, yeah, our number one's really important, but it's like, man, that 5, let's get that 5 as close as possible. And if you look at Texas, granted, we had some things happen, but we won the race, but it was because of our depth, and we had a 40-second difference between our number 1 and number 5, and
Nice.
that was really awesome to see. And yeah, so no, you're spot on with that, man. So
Right on.
Mark, you said there's been some bumps and bruises through the season. For you as a coach so far, obviously we're going into postseason, so there's still a lot of running left. What's been the biggest, man, I'm proud of these kids moment?
yeah, definitely Texas. I want to say that because, coming in, we had 3 meets before that, and it was like something would happen with one person, or, this runner, he didn't finish the race because of whatever the case may be. And I was like, man, we just need to put together a race, and I think Texas was that race, obviously for the guys' side, and most everyone on the guys and girls side PR'd. And before anyone asked, yes, it was legit. It was legit. We GPSed it, but I mean, yeah, I mean, we were excited after that race, and yeah, I mean, just pure bliss, happiness, and it was a great moment for sure.
Is Uber Eats still in the post-meet celebration?
Yes, yeah. See, you guys are on top of it, man. Yes, for
The
sure.
Applebee's Classic Combo still in the championship
Classic.
rotation?
Yeah. Yes, man. No, 100%, man. Sunday, we got football going in. I placed my bets already, and we're gonna have the Uber Eats coming in, so we're on top of it, man. Yeah.
Nice. It's funny you came up not too long ago, Mark. We had Chris Lear. He was the author of Running with the Buffaloes, and he just wrote Beyond Fast with Sean Brosnan about the Newbury Park team. And we asked him his guilty pleasure, and his wife chimed in as we asked that, and she said gambling. So we were trying to rack our brains. We thought he was the first guest that we've had on that had a guilty pleasure of gambling, but then we were we were racking our brains, and I'm like, no, I think Coach Emerson was into some football stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Mark, is there anything you want our audience to know or us to know about the team or what they've done this year prior to going into the conference that we haven't spoke about?
Yeah. I mean, in terms of, attitude and performance and kind of what they've been doing, it's been a lot different than last year. And I'm very thankful for that. And I mean, their mental preparation, and it's just been a complete 180 in terms of, getting ready for the championship meets. And I'm really excited to see what they do because, last year I was very hands-on and very meticulous about, wanting these, hey, this is how it needs to be done. This is how we do it. This is how we do it here, right? And this year I was telling Kamo, one of my athletes yesterday, I said, kind of trust you guys now. We talked about this, and now I'm just like, you guys know what to do, and so, but it'll be exciting. I think we'll have a surprise or two, but we'll see what happens.
Mark, will the meet be available online to watch or anything on Friday?
I believe
know?
so. I got an email about it about 30 minutes ago about putting something up. So, if they do, I believe it'll be on the KJCCC network. And
Okay.
my old coach at Allen, he does a lot of that stuff for our conference for a region meet, and he does a great job. He has the drones in the sky. He did that last year as well, and great job he does. And so, but I'll send you guys a link too if you need. And
Yeah, I'd like to check that out. What time? What are race times?
guys are at 10 o'clock, and then girls 10:45.
Okay, awesome. And not to get, we don't want to overlook the conference and the region meet or the cross country nationals, but will you guys be fielding a half marathon team as well?
No half marathon this year.
No
Just
half
just
marathon.
cross. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Well, Mark, best of luck. You are the man. We will hit you up after nationals. We'll have to chat again. Always great to see you.
One more thing. Can I say one more thing?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So we host the region championships next year here at Butler. I'm just saying, we've been talking about this Jayhawk tour, perfect time, bring you guys down. We'll even get barbecue. Okay, take you guys out for barbecue. So is that a deal?
That's a
That's a
deal.
deal.
We were in talks with D Brown about coming up to do some stuff uh at nationals, but I actually have my high school cross country state qualifier on the 7th. So, but we are gonna do some stuff for nationals. But the Jayhawk tour for 2026 is on the
On the
calendar for
calendar.
sure.
Come on down, man.
Heck yeah.
All right.
Mark, best of luck to you.
Thank you.
Rich, we got Matthew Scott coming in from Colby.
Okay, Matthew
Yeah,
Scott from Colby
yeah.
College is joining us. Where? Okay, the men are ranked 10th right now, and the women are 25th. Did you contact Jafet?
I did, but he wasn't in the waiting room. Matthew was.
All right.
Coach Scott, are you there?
Yes, I am. Just got in from the course actually.
All right. We weren't expected to see you. I don't know if you saw my email. We had switched with Jafet, but you were in the waiting room and he wasn't. So we're
I
rocking and
mean,
rolling.
I thankfully had to come and grab the paint from the store because one of the businesses in town actually was donating a good chunk of the paint. So still
All
painting
right.
some of the areas of the course that are a little confusing and used about 400 or 500 posts to make it so that it's pretty clear where we're going.
Okay. Word on the street is that it's a little hilly,
Yeah, tiny bit.
tiny bit.
There's some downhills or some uphills. It's definitely not going to be the flattest course.
Okay, we were talking too that there's a couple guys that have driven through Kansas on I-70 quite a few times. To hear that there's a hilly course in Kansas warms my heart.
The first 800 is going to be the funny one because it kind of barrels downhill through some curves.
Okay.
I mean, you could probably easily, some of those faster guys, be sub 220 on that first 800 if they're not careful,
Okay. Okay.
which is crazy to say on grass.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. Coach, how's the season been going for you guys and
I
gals?
mean, got here August 24th. So this is actually week 8.
Okay.
And I mean, men are ranked 10th and women are ranked 25th. Women didn't field a team last year, so remaining ranked 25th is a pretty good spot on the ladies' side. And on the men's side, I don't remember what conference or national ranking was, but we're sitting 10th in the country right now. So
Okay. And Colby's had a rich tradition of cross country and distance running throughout the
yes, it
years.
has, and it's one that we're definitely trying to be right on that path in the same nature.
Who should we be looking out for on Friday?
But I'd say some big ones are going to be Jafet, Caprono, Keenan Delatry. I mean, arguably, I'd say even from our third to our seventh guy could be pretty tight too. I mean, our third guy's in the 25s and just workouts the last couple of weeks. He's been jumping, but so were 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So anybody's guess who those top 7 are in total after that first 3, roughly. But yeah, I mean, those I'd say Keenan and Jafet would be the big ones. Vincent could be another one, and Noah Reiseball will be one that he's traditionally our third guy. And kind of rounding out that top 5, it's kind of hard to say, but I mean, you got Andrew Berger, you have Dakota Kochuk, you have Alexandre the Tree, you have Thomas Callis. I mean, it's going to be a tight pack from 3 to 7 or 8, even.
And with the, as a high school coach, I often talk to the young men and women about the 1 through 5 split, 5-man average,
The
is
gap, yes,
the
that is going
gaps
to
and those
be
sorts of things. Is that stuff that you cover at the collegiate level as well?
that is one I cover at the collegiate level and point out that ultimately we want to try to have that as tight as we possibly can. And I mean, using the old Adams State adage when they won their first D2 title from going from NAI, they were what, 5 seconds apart?
Yeah.
So as close as you can be, the better off you are.
Yeah.
That has always been at least one I point out from year 1 to even year 17 now.
Okay. And so you said 8 weeks on the job, you pretty much hit the ground running,
It pretty much
literally
hit the ground
and
running, not
figuratively.
even proverbially speaking, quite literally speaking.
How has it been for you in the transition?
Yeah, it hasn't been too bad. Just moving from Virginia to Kansas was a quite of a haul, but did that quite quickly and got here, and we were at a competition on the 6th of September shortly thereafter. So,
Okay. How was the move?
move was not bad. Ultimately got a movie truck for some of the bigger items, but packed my car as full as I could and put the dog in the passenger seat. And I mean, drove over here in a couple of days.
We
So
like that, don't
1,300
we, Jim?
miles.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do you feel grounded? Do you feel at home yet?
I do finally starting to. I think it'll get more and more each day, but I think running and getting all this stuff done for the regional kind of kept me so busy I didn't even realize I wasn't grounded yet.
Coach, you're the girls coach too, correct?
Yes, sir.
Who do we need to keep an eye out on the girls side?
McIntyre would be, I'd say, our front runner. She's probably in that top 4 to 7 range in a given from Ireland. So muddy courses are a thing for her pretty regularly. So let's say it rains, that could be really to her advantage. She could be even higher in fourth, I think. But again, that all kind of depends on what the day is like. Some people are going to do well on drier courses. She definitely does not have any struggle with mud.
That's a good quality of a cross country runner.
It definitely is. And I will say there's some hills. That last 400 is going to be a fun one too. You start the last 4 going up a hill.
Uphill
So
to the finish?
Yep.
Oh, nice.
And you kind of curve in towards the finish.
so mentioning the course, are the kids stoked that it's at home?
They are definitely stoked to stay at home because let me see if I can get you a picture of the course here, actually. Mind if I put that in the chat there? Nope,
Yeah,
that's
go
not
for
going
it.
to help us. I don't need to take a screenshot. Let's see pictures. Downloads. There we go. They are very excited on it. Sorry for the dead air here.
Oh, you're good.
You're good. You're good. We appreciate the effort.
I just figured the seeing the course will also give a good visual.
Is there going to be media coverage on site? Will we be able to view
There
this
is
online?
a drone stream actually that's going to be through the KJCCC through Vince DeGratto's business,
Okay.
and that is one that we're going to be utilizing
I know what I'm doing
for that.
Friday at school.
Yep.
Watching that,
Yes, sir.
I think that'll be very helpful for some of the international students' families. They can actually
Yeah.
watch the race regardless of where they're at in the world, and I believe that will be one that the kids themselves enjoy too. Nope, that is the KJCC logo. Well, I might just email you that.
All right.
I guess I have a picture of it right here. I can.
So, Coach, oh, there you go.
Is it multiple loops or one loop?
Women's 1.5, men is 2.5.
Okay. So they get double the fun.
Oh yes,
Mhm.
the orange is the last little half.
Okay.
Coach,
But yeah,
sorry. So we know Region 6 Jayhawk Conference is one of the toughest conferences in the country.
yes, it is.
What does success look like to you on Friday?
I'd say success on the men's side. Ultimately, us being top three would be a really pretty solid day. We get higher than that, that's a really great day. Um, Women's side, I think anywhere, obviously, the Jayhawk Conference. Yeah, it's one of the toughest ones in the country. Women's side, I'd say right now between fifth and seventh would be a pretty good spot, just based on kind of the team composition and everything at the moment.
All right. And only being there for 8 weeks, is it going how you thought it would be going before
Oh,
you left
yeah, it's went
Virginia?
very well. The kids have bought in. I would say a lot of my philosophy is very athlete centered. Kind of steal a little bit from Scott Simmons there. That's was at Virginia Intermont and other
Mhm.
places. I actually, not to make a shameless plug there, I raced against Fernando when I was in college when he
Okay.
was at Minot. But yeah, I mean, ultimately, steal some of that athlete center perspective, and they communicate quite a bit. And so, arguably, I mean, some coaches will keep a weekly mileage for that group. On the women's side, we have probably anywhere between 40 and 60. So, very varied in the grand scheme of it all. Men's side, it could be between 50 and 80, even 85. So, it's very varied when it comes to mileage, even amongst men and women. But we are a moderate volume school when it comes to weekly volume.
Are you guys dabbling in the world of double threshold?
Not so much, largely just because, I mean, that's a little tough to do when you're at a little lower volume
Yeah.
on some of those individuals. Uh, Definitely playing some more fast finish long runs,
Mm-hmm. Those are
make the
fun.
long run a little bit more of a workout. Uh, but I will say ultimately workout volumes are not necessarily low either. Men, obviously this week's going to be a little lower based on the region, but we were last week, our specific workout was 10 by 800 with hammers on 7 and 10. And those hammers, like let's say if you're a 24-minute guy, your regular 800s are in the 220s. So you're under 220 on those hammers.
Okay.
So
Is that
that's
on the
two,
course?
yeah, that's on the course. So your legs are and lungs are burning a little.
Mm-hmm.
So a little bit old school in some of the aspects. Don't dabble too much in double thresholds, what I'd like to, but again, takes time to work into. And sometimes somebody might think they're running threshold and might be running closer to race pace.
Right. Yeah. Do the kids ask for it? It seems like with the information that everyone has access to, if the teams aren't doing it, the kids are chomping at the bit because they want to do it.
A couple,
Yeah.
but nothing crazy. I mean, really, I mean, ultimately, you think about it, you look at that, you look at, I mean, let's say early 2000s, you had Kenyans 3 a days, uh, had people obsessing over that. So I think you kind of have to trust in your process,
Mhm.
regardless of what your process is, and really believe in that and just kind of stick to your guns, but also be open to listening to that kid. Maybe that double threshold can be snuck in minutes instead of 400s on a track or on a course even. It could be snuck in that way. I mean, that's one, at least an approach I've taken too, where I've had some that pushed for that and utilize that
Mhm.
because their weekly volume kind of at least allowed for some of that.
Coach, you've mentioned Adams State. You mentioned Scott Simmons. I can see Rich's ears perking up because his inner running geek is coming
I
coming
ran in the
out.
same region as Adams State in
Oh, were you in
college.
the Rocky Mountain Athletic Conference?
No, Northern Sun, but before they split the region, when they were in the Central region, there was just the Central region.
Okay. Yeah.
Uh, yeah, I ran at Northern State. And then I mean, so some of those it's been just crossing paths in life, and that's kind of how I've been influenced on some of those perspectives. A little less than strictly double threshold, and throwing in some hard repeats on the grass, a little bit of V Hill, a little bit of Simmons.
Well, I got a blast from the past Scott Simmons story. So in 1994, I went down to Mobile, Alabama on a recruiting trip to the University of Mobile and spent a few days with Scott Simmons and the team. And I was sold. I was all ready to go down to the University of Mobile and go run with those guys and go run for Coach Simmons. And I made the mistake of bringing home the local Mobile Sun or whatever the newspaper was, not even looking at it, just like, hey, let me bring this home so my folks can see what Mobile, Alabama is all about. And I gave the paper to my parents. And on the front page of the paper was this big thing about how pollen was so bad in Mobile, Alabama. And I had a lot of allergies as a kid growing up, and one of them was pollen. And so, unfortunately, mom and dad talked me out of going to the University of Mobile in fear that it might have an impact on my allergies and my asthma. So I didn't get the opportunity to run for Coach Simmons, but I was very close.
I mean, he's a knowledgeable guy. I will say that.
He knows his stuff.
Coach, we know Colby Community College is a powerhouse in junior college athletics. We've had your AD on, Kenny Hernandez. How has it been for you at Colby and the environment there?
Very good. I mean, ultimately, I mean, if we kind of needed something that gets addressed, and Kenny is very supportive. He was actually one of the people helping set up the course today. He took most of the morning, and then they have volleyball this afternoon, so they kind of had to set up for that. So, and then had some other coaches have helped out set up the course today too. So it's pretty supportive. And I know volleyball actually is coming out with some noisemakers and stuff on Friday. So not usually an environment you get at a cross country meet, but getting some other teams and stuff out there that are going to be with some noisemakers and signs is kind of a cool thing to see with cross country and see that support there.
How has it been setting up the regional meet in your first season? Has it been overwhelming? I know you said you've been 17
I
years
definitely,
coaching.
yeah, I didn't know if I was going to make this meet in time, so that was why I sent you an email just to make sure. But yeah, in some elements, it's been a little overwhelmed, but I think any person kind of hitting it running, kind of is going to feel a little overwhelmed. So ultimately, I think in future years, it'll be a little easier with everything being a little more me actually feet to the ground and grounded and everything. Will make it a lot easier.
So on Friday, how do you do the double roles as far as coach and meet director?
Trying to have as much done as humanly possible so there's not any hiccups. I do think having the conference, like conference presidents, different things like that, as well as conference director, is going to help at least in some of that elements. And ultimately, if like let's say there is a protest, for example, that's going to default to them in that grand scheme. But I mean, I think it should be pretty easy. I managed it at my last stop at Virginia Military Institute. We had an indoor meet with 2,500 teams or 2,500 athletes, 56 teams over 2 days. Still got to coach my athletes in their events, thankfully. Part of it's just making sure you have somebody that can step in when you got to step over to coach your athlete. And I believe between Coach Glover and Coach Steedley, they'll be able to help me in some of those areas so that I can address at that as well. And they're the track part of the track staff. And you're going to see a good chunk, pretty much our entire track team out there working the meet itself too.
Now, Coach, you mentioned the course being pretty challenging, pretty hilly. 2 loops. Do fans need to be in shape to take in the race?
They're definitely going to want to be in shape. Not much you can do before Friday though.
Yeah.
There is some definitely big uphills. I mean, that's kind of the nature of cross country.
Sure.
I mean, a lot anymore are kind of fast, just flat tracks. This definitely is not that. I'd say between the 1K and the 2K, you're going to have a pretty good uphill going from about just before the mile marker to the 2K. And then you go around that green and kind of barrel down into a little gully, up another green and around. I mean, it's pretty challenging in that perspective between the 2K and the 3K mark. With some of the twists and turns.
Is this a new course? Or has this course been used in the past?
The only real difference is kind of the map, and that's one where we're having to render a different map. But that's one I'll get to explain to the coaches. I mean, that we're not going through that little riverbed area this year just because the grass was about neck deep on me, and I'm 5'11". That was going to take years to get through, and some of it's that reed stuff that's like thick like a small tree.
Yeah.
So a little tough to do on short notice. So we ended up kind of cutting through them on the other side of that little gully area. Still ends up being pretty similar otherwise.
Have you guys had a pre-region meet? Or
we did not get to have a pre-region meet. Coach Service was here prior to myself, and the interest level had been only 1 or 2, and it ended up falling around the same time as Fort Hays. So that ended up being kind of why.
So you definitely have home course advantage.
We do, and we worked out on it a few times already since the fall started.
Nice.
Actually, I think there's only maybe one week where we didn't.
Okay. Sweet.
Coach, is there anything about the team that we haven't covered before we get you out of here that you want our audience to know?
I mean, not that I can think of right off the top of my head. I'd say they will be genuinely surprised just on the progression in the last year. We were sitting 7th on the men's side last year, didn't have a team finish on the women's side. I'd say top 3, what I thought was going to be a good spot for men, then between 5th and 7th on the ladies' side. I'd say that's going to be one of the biggest surprises for a lot of people. And I mean, they do have a little home course advantage. You're correct on that. Other than that, really, they may be quiet individuals, but they are not timid, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
Kind of like us, Rich.
That's right.
Coach Scott, thank you so much for your time tonight. Rich and I can't wait to watch the meet on Friday, and best of luck to the team.
Thank you. Looking forward to it.
All right. Good luck, Coach. Thanks for joining us tonight. We appreciate your time.
All right.
Take care.
Rich, we are back on schedule.
Okay. So Cameron Reith, I'm going to say it is pronounced, from Cowley, the D2 school. Men are ranked 5th and the women are 23rd.
What's going on, fellas?
How you doing tonight, Coach?
Good. Happy to be here.
Happy to have you here, Coach. First thing, how do you pronounce your last name?
It's like Christmas wreath.
Reith, I was right.
All right. Yeah, good job, Rich.
Yes.
So, Coach, how is the season going for you and the team so far?
On the men's side in particular, it's been pretty well. Like I knew going in that we were going to be struggling to kind of have a 5th runner. On the women's side, we've kind of had some little hiccups, little owies that are kind of been just kind of all year pretty much, it seems like. But I kind of knew that there was a potential of that too, just because we had, quite a substantial amount of 800-meter runners. But uh, they are very talented, and they've been coming along. And this will be the first meet all season that we have all of our women running. So exciting.
So, question I have for you in the Jayhawk conference, a lot of Division 1 teams. You guys are Division 2. How does that work? Do you guys just run the race and people qualify for Division 2?
Pretty much, yeah. We're Division 2, and Allen's also Division 2.
Okay.
I mean, I think it just works out best for like the regions, this part of the country. Um, like historically, Cowley was Division 1 at one point, but the in parts of our athletic programs are still Division 1. Our track team's Division 1, but it kind of comes down to a choice based on the way you're funded and athletic departments or whatever. So I think that's the reason why they keep it together is just because they want to keep the Kansas regions, you know, together. And historically we've been able to compete even though we're Division 2.
Do you feel like that's an advantage going into Division 2 nationals?
Absolutely, no doubt. This region meet, we've won 3 national titles in the last 5 years and Division 2 level, and this region meet's an awesome setup for that national meet. So the competition is just awesome, and I mean, the last couple of years it's even gotten better. So it makes me want to raise my game, raise the program's game a little bit.
We've got some hardware back there behind you. That's a nice looking background you got.
Thanks.
Now with that, you guys being a D2 school, but Jayhawk Conference is predominantly Division 1. We've found that it's probably the hardest conference in the country. Would you agree with that?
I would say yes, just
Yeah.
for like top to bottom, no doubt. You can look at the rankings usually, even on the track side of things, there's usually 3 or 4 top 5 or even top 10 teams every year.
What is it about Kansas and the Jayhawk Conference that uh, allows that to be the case?
I think overall, like just across the board, as far as athletics go, they just put a high priority on athletics. They fund the programs really well. And it's just like rising tides lifts everything. So like even our like I don't want to say lower end schools in the conference, they're still really solid across when you're comparing to national schools.
Okay. Yeah, because Jimmy and we're from New Jersey and we were both junior college All-Americans, myself in cross country and Jimmy in wrestling, but we were both at Division 3 schools. And there's such a stigma in and around New Jersey about high school kids going to the junior college, community college level, but it seems like that is not the case in Kansas and in Iowa. It's like almost like a different experience altogether.
Absolutely, no doubt. And I mean, I think there's 15 or 16 junior colleges in Kansas, and Iowa's just getting better and better every year too. No doubt. And sometimes I'll be honest about it. Sometimes getting the Kansas kids to come JUCO is the hardest sell. But those are the ones that we look at first as far as like recruiting.
And geographically speaking, where are you guys located in Kansas?
We are 4 miles north of Oklahoma. And then
Okay.
we are about 45 minutes to the southeast of Wichita.
Okay.
So we're about we're 75 miles north of Stillwater, Oklahoma.
Okay.
So where Oklahoma State's at.
Yeah. Yeah, I used to live in Oklahoma, and I spend the summers in Colorado, so I've driven through that area on 35 many times.
Ah, nice. Cool.
Yeah.
Coach, you have any Oklahoma kids on the team, or is it all Kansas?
I recruit everywhere. Let me think right off the top of my head. I know on the track side we do. Um, it's mainly Kansas, and then we have quite a bit of internationals too.
Okay. Now, how does that work with the internationals? Because I know you said you're Division 2, but Division 1 in track. Are you
Yep.
still able to offer scholarships for cross country to those international athletes?
Yep. Yep. It's just so what the difference between Division 1, Division 2 is the funding. So the level of funding that we could provide for the athlete. So my internet like I have to be pretty selective with my internationals. Like they got to be able to afford a certain portion of of their schooling.
And how have you found it with the international athletes? If you had any issues, or they come in and they perform for you and do their
Oh man,
jobs?
some of my best athletes have been internationals. So, but at the same time, like we develop Americans, we develop local kids at the same time. Like, over the years, we usually have two or three gunners that are internationals, and then we bring up, their second year American kid that just needed more time to develop. And that's kind of the system that we try to do.
Now, as far as the team this year, who do we need to keep an eye out on going into the conference meet and going into nationals on both sides?
Speaking of Esteban Bueso, he's ran 24:15. And I mean he's from France, but I mean he's gonna be a front runner to win the D2 portion at nationals. But he's right off the bat, like that first group of guys, like, and he's getting just better and better every single week. Like he's literally, I mean, I don't want, like, because I've had some really good athletes here in the past, but like during the track season, some of our school records going to be in jeopardy if we keep him healthy and just keep him progressing. I have no doubt he could. I used to work at Colby before I got here, so I know what the course is like. It's not a super fast course.
We've heard it's
Um,
hilly.
yeah, but I mean, it's. I think with any course, as long as you use the momentum right, it sets you up well. So I'm not expecting super fast times, especially if we get a little bit of rain. But I'm excited about the potential of just a good competitive meet, and like that's what I'm like. That's what I preach to my kids about anything. If you can't be falling in love with times as much as putting yourself in a position to compete, working with your teammates well, and just go be a fighter.
Coach, I'm a high school coach. And so one of the things I emphasize with the teams is the 1 through 5 split, 5 man average, 5 person average. Is that something that comes up in conversation in terms of collegiate cross country?
I think if you got the horses, absolutely. But at the same time, um, like sometimes especially if you get a big meet, I mean, it just depends. Like it depends on the makeup of your team.
Mhm.
Like for example, I think Esteban you don't want him to be holding up for the rest of the group.
Right.
The best he can help the group is to be the lowest stick he can be.
Sure.
Like whether that's two or a one or a three, I don't, it depends. But at the same time, like I like little pods, like if my 2 and 3 are pretty similar, I want them working together. If my 3 and 4 are similar, I want them working together. I think that's kind of the makeup of our team this year is like we have a solid up like front runner, and then we have a 2 and 3 that are pretty solid that could be, low 26s, high 25s. And then our fifth, sixth, and seventh, they just need to be, those are the ones that I want working together. And it just gobbling up as many people as they can on the backside. So like to answer your question, it just depends on the makeup.
And knowing the course and knowing how hot it might go out, are you game planning that a little bit to gobble people up and maybe not necessarily run from behind, but anticipating that there might be some people that might blow up
It
because of the
depends on
terrain?
how, yeah, you're right. There's a slight downhill on the start, but it depends on how it like because you could tell somebody that it's going to be like that, but until I think the best thing you can do is teach your kids how to. I always compare it to like a band, like a musician. So, when a good band kind of works with and they play off one another, same thing whenever you're racing. When you're out there, you got to be able to make decisions based on how the race goes out or how the course is feeling. And I think that teaching them that type of mentality, and I know it's hard. I only get these kids for 2 years, so a lot of times they start to figure it out towards their second year. But having that mentality, I think it'll set them up better to be a better racer overall.
Coach, we
Go ahead, Jim.
Coach, we know conference is a big deal, but you got another meet coming up after conference, which is the biggest deal of the season. What is the mindset going in, knowing it's such a challenging course? Do you want the guys to give an all-out effort, or is it something, hey, let's leave a little bit in the tank for nationals?
I think like part of training is racing, no doubt. But at the same time, like we've alluded to this at the beginning. There's like we want to go and compete. Like we're not going to go, we're not going to drive 6 hours to go do a little tempo kind of a deal. Like there's a little bit of, I mean, honestly, one of the coolest things about the conference is all the coaches are pretty friendly, but there's an underlying, competitive bone, but at the same time, you're like, I mean, we're D2, but at the same time, we want to go topple the Giants if we can.
You mentioned it being friendly. It seems a little bit different on the cross country side of things than it does the football side of things, Rich, doesn't it?
Yeah, a little bit.
You're right. You're not wrong about that.
Coach, as I mentioned, I lived in Oklahoma. It's relatively flat where I was in Oklahoma City. Out near Tulsa, you definitely get some hills. Are you able to get some hills in to replicate what you're going to experience on Friday?
So one of the best things, like we're in Ark City, Kansas. One of the best areas to train, other than where the only thing we're missing is the altitude.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Like, it does get a little warm. It does get a little humid, but the areas around our city is just amazing. Like like we run down in Oklahoma a lot. Like, and I find something new every year. It's crazy the amount of areas to train, and it's hilly. We're right next to the Arkansas River. So, it is, and then with that, there's like ups and downs, that which is everywhere. It's incredible. So that's part of our training. And I'm a big believer that hills pay the bills. I go about it a different way, but it's nothing like, I don't think any coach nowadays is coming up with something new, but we utilize them pretty good. We're going to be strong, and that's part of what our training philosophy is here.
Coach, I think you just gave me my new cross country T-shirt. Hills pay the bills.
Yes, 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 yes.
Being so close to Oklahoma, were you able to get down to Stilley for get on their course for the Jamboree?
So the only I want to, and I'm a big believer in, and this is kind of how is even as an athlete, all of our coaches kind of ingrained it in us is like we want to get on tough courses because then easy courses feel easy,
Mm-hmm.
and I think there's it's like a Band-Aid almost when like you can't be scared of tough things. You can't be scared of it. And it's good to do hard things from time to time. Um, I say that, but I also believe that, especially since I got like 800-meter girls that are coming up to 5K, going up to the 6K is kind of just not, it's not conducive for their learning. Not, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest reason why we don't go there. Trust me, I'd love to go to a meet 75 and on that course, 75 minutes away, but
Mm-hmm.
since they don't run a 5K, that's
Gotcha.
why we don't.
I'm curious, what's the secret recipe to getting 800-meter runners to run cross country? Because I feel like a lot of the 800-meter runners that I've ever encountered are like, oh, I'm gonna play soccer or I'm gonna do this in the fall.
Um, well, like I don't, to be honest, I don't know because it is a battle sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
and you have to get kind of creative with how you train them. And sometimes, like I said, we had some hiccups, we had some banged up owies, all the whole 9 yards. I got some girls that are opening this weekend, but there's a reason why they're opening, like because I think that they're fit enough to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And our ladies are ranked number 23. I don't know how, but we're a top 5, top 6 team on the women's side. Potentially. Maybe I'm very, very optimistic, but I believe in what I'm seeing and the talent's there, and we just got to put it together.
And not looking past the region meet and the Jayhawk Conference championships, but in 2 weeks, will you guys just be focusing on the cross country race, or will we be fielding some runners in the half marathon as well?
I have this is my 10th year in JUCO, and I just never done it
Okay.
yet. That doesn't mean I'm not open to it, but I just think it's just not conducive
Mm-hmm.
to what we're doing. I'm trying to get them up to running 13 miles for the long run. I only got one girl that's done like 12. On the guy side, I got maybe I could field a guys team on this one, but I'd rather get a jump start, get them rested up, and get a jump start to track. But I do love the fact that we do that. I think it's a really cool thing.
Yeah, definitely. I like to back in the day, NAI used to run a marathon in the spring at the outdoor championships as well. They did away with that, but um, again, not looking past this Friday and everything, but we had Jim Robinson on not too long ago. What's it going to take down the Stars at Lansing Community
Man,
College?
that guy's a good coach, man. Like he's a really good coach. You know, it's like it's a yearly battle with those guys. And he's just phenomenal. Like he gets a lot out of his kids, and you know, uh, it's fun. And I mean that's not only looking at him, but there's some really good coaches all across the board
Sure.
that I notice these things and I notice what they're doing, and it pushes and motivates me. But I think they're going to be pretty tough to beat on the men's side, no doubt. But I have faith in my guys. I think we got something coming. We're ranked fifth right now, but I think there is definite potential to get on the podium, no doubt, on our men's side. It'll take something nice, but I know the course at Fort Dodge. We've been prepping for that. I know a lot of the schools that are ranked ahead of us have been just chasing really fast courses, and hey, I would be too, no doubt. But yeah, we'll find out whenever we get on the same course together.
Okay.
Coach, is there anything about the team or the program that we haven't talked about that you want our audience to know?
Hey, if anybody wants to check us out, we've got fantastic marketing guy that does a lot of great stuff for us on our Instagram. Our Instagram's at Cowley, COWLEYXCTF. My Instagram is at Camino Cam. I used to have an El Camino, love El Caminos. So
Nice.
yeah, capitalized on that way back in the day when Instagram first came out.
Mhm.
And not only that, it's just a good group. I'm excited to watch them grow. We're young for the most part on the women's side. We only returned one sophomore, so that's part of the hiccups. JUCOs, like you can rotate on average 60 to 70% of your team every year, but I'm excited just to keep watching them grow and develop.
Coach, you mentioned some of the geography. Are you sitting on a hidden gem in Kansas that no one knows about?
People think Kansas is flat, and the Arc City is like the areas around Arc City are not flat. It's incredible. Like, well, I remember I came on a visit here. I wasn't looking on moving. I came on a visit, and the previous coach, a great, fantastic human being, Mark Phillips, well, legend. He's a JUCO Hall of Famer. But he took me on a drive on one of these roads, and we call it Quaker. Past teams have called it Little Kenya, and I was like, oh my gosh, we can win championships here. And that's like on this road, I'm like, yep, that's like, like your Magnolia Road. It's not nearly as long. It's probably, and we don't have altitude, but it's like, man, we could do some stuff on this. Um, and it's been pretty good for us so far. So
Well, Coach Reith, you got me pumped. You got me stoked. I can't wait to watch the guys and gals on Friday, and best of luck to you for the rest of the
yes.
season.
Hey, I appreciate you guys for giving us this platform. I can't like it's kind of cool. It's kind of I'm not ex it's just one of those things that you don't expect for the JUCO level, but like it's a good meet. So appreciate it, guys.
Yeah, we're excited, and as I mentioned, Jimmy and I are both junior college guys, so it holds a special place in our heart, and we know what it can do for student athletes. So, any opportunity we can do to share on our platform all the great schools and great coaches that are out there, we're happy to do it. So, we do appreciate your time. We do appreciate you joining us. We'll have to get you back on here for a long format. We can really dig in a little bit more about the school and the program, and learn a little bit more about you.
Absolutely. Well, thanks, guys. We'll see you
Awesome. Good
down the
luck to
Great
you
road.
on
night.
Friday.
Best of luck.
Thank you.
On to the next one, Rich.
All right, we got Jeremy Windsor joining us, ladies and gentlemen, from Highland Community College.
Coach Windsor, how we doing, sir?
Well, how you doing?
We're doing great. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Yeah, no problem, man.
So, Coach, how's the season going so far?
You know, it's going, it's going. I got here, I got brought on pretty late. Because I was coaching at the NCAA level and was trying to wrap up the season and conference and preliminary rounds, and got here, and just, whatever was here, that's what we ran with. So it's been fun.
Do you feel like you said you just got there. Do you feel like you're home? Do you feel like you're grounded, or do you feel like you're still building and you got a lot to do?
Ah, yeah, I mean, definitely, it's work, 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 man, so it takes some time to uproot things that weren't great and install new things, and then, you got to water it. So that's what I wake up every day and I water it, man, and just watching it grow.
What has been the biggest challenges and what has been the biggest success so far?
I one of the biggest challenges has been, just of course, learning the community, learning different places to train for different things that we're wanting to do, and not really having coming in knowing those things and kind of picking some things up on the fly, and uh so that's been a challenge, and then secondly, it's been great just seeing, the kids, kind of come through 5K, like especially like my guys, you know at one point, they're PRing in workouts, before we even kind of really dig off into things. So that's been nice. It's nice seeing kids do a sport that truly gives you a return on what you put into it. So that's always exciting, and I love seeing that stuff.
Coach, you had a good showing at the Billy Mills meet, correct?
Yeah, the kids got out. They ran well. It was fun for them. They enjoyed it, and we had some breakthroughs. Not everything that we wanted, but it was a good showing.
Did that change their confidence a little bit?
Oh, definitely. Definitely change their confidence a little bit. Especially because the part of the season that we were in, we were still coming out of a pretty heavy block. So they were like, man, I don't feel great in the legs, but we were able to move a little bit, and respiratory wise, they're now starting to feel a little bit better aerobically. Um, and so yeah, they were definitely excited. They were, had a great van ride home. uh starting to, and at this time of the season, everybody's kind of starting to get comfortable with each other. And so the conversations are better, the
Hmm.
laughter, and things like that. So it's pretty fun.
Coach, who do we have to look out for this Friday?
I got a little freshman, named David Welcher. By no means is he's going to be a guy to come out there and blow anybody away, run 23 minutes or anything like that, you know. But I'm really looking forward to kind of seeing what he can do. I've held him back for probably the 80% of the season, just because that's kind of our training model for this year with this group of guys. We're taking more of a full year approach, and this is just one big base in
Hmm.
theory. Uh, but I'm really looking forward to him. And then, I got a young lady that nobody's kind of seen in a few weeks. She's training really well, but she she's had a situation with a tendon, and I've kind of had to make some decisions that she doesn't like, just because we got some offers on the table for some Division 1 schools and things like that, and like for her, we got our eyes on trying to win the steeple at Nationals outdoors, uh, and you don't win that in October, so
But you can
uh,
certainly lose it.
yeah, yeah, so I think right now she was one of the top ranked girls in our region, and that was with base work from way back in you know September 1. Um but I've had to have some tough conversations. Like, I held her out. She was at the meet, but I held her out. And we're gonna warm up on Friday, and her body's gonna tell me the truth. uh, and like I told her, she's hated me for it, but she knows the type of coach I am. I don't risk kids' careers.
Right.
Um, and so, but she's definitely would be somebody for sure to watch out for if I decide to let her lace up. Otherwise, I'll make another decision on her and nationals.
Coach, coming in so late and having to work with the kids that you have they accepted you? Have you been able to build relationships with them?
Yeah, I mean, it's been really good. That was probably one of the nice parts. The kids were very eager. Were very eager, and fortunate enough for me, a lot of on my guys' side, a lot of the guys were familiar with some of the work I've done previously. So like I have an athlete that I coach. He's LSU's number 2 runner right now, and 2 of my guys, they were like, "Man, we went on a run with this guy." I was like, "Yeah, I coached him in high school." And then some of my other guys that I have are familiar with some of my kids I coached at my Division I school last year. And they kind of, because they're from another country, so they kind of how it is. They all somehow know each other. So it wasn't really hard to get the buy-in. The kids that are having success kind of just makes them want to just shut up and listen, and we get after it a little bit.
In a year that's a rebuild, how do you focus on now and making the most out of now, as opposed to trying to get all the recruits and get everything set up for the years coming down the road?
Yeah, I focus really, really big on, so instead of saying, hey, we have 11 and a half weeks for the cross country season, I say, hey, man, we got 8 months. We got 8 months. And, so on days where things are hard, or things are a little bit heavy, or the kids are a little bad disposition. And it's funny because now they do it. They'll tap a kid on the shoulder. Hey, man, it's October. Remember when it gets important. And so I have them all with their eyes downhill. So a bump in the road here or there in October, no one's really freaking out about it, and everybody's like, oh man, yeah, like this is going to be, we have time. And so it's really more so protecting their mind. And in doing so, it protects my peace, because I'm like, hey, I don't have to have it right now. I don't have to get greedy, in rush it, and we mirrored that kind of in our training. We stayed in base for about a month, no workouts. I treated our team as if, I was coaching, BYU, and we don't have to race until, like later on, way down the road. But instead for them, I was like, hey, like, we're going to have a month of summer, is what I told them. We're going to have a month of summer here together, so we ran our first 2 races and hadn't done a single interval, nothing. It's just pure running, so it's really exciting for them, because as they start to get educated on training and what it looks like, and the progressions and the different phases that we go through, they're like, oh man, okay. We got something going there, and I love coaching these type of kids. I really do. It's fun. It's a big change from what I was dealing with, last year, to what I have got, what I'm dealing with now, but it's all still part of coaching. It's just different ends of the spectrum.
Hey, Coach, I'm in the middle of building a cross country team at the high school level down here in South Carolina, so I know what it's like to celebrate little wins and get the kids to buy in on those things. What does a win look like for Highland on Friday?
For us, you know, uh, I told them, every week, I post our training, so uh, I have these little trainings that I post every Sunday. And off to the right, I put notes, whether it's the theme or the purpose of what looks like a win for the week, for that workout, or for that block, that week of training. So this week, what I posted in the things for some of the kids is, hey, like, let's get out there and let's go after the pace that we set out for. Let's not be afraid of it. Let's fail forward, and let's put the chips on the table, And I have, as you saw, there's like 4 different columns. So I got them broken down, based upon a lot of different parameters. For some of the kids, it's like, hey, let's start and let's finish it. I have a group of half milers in there that are going to race this weekend. And this championship season is a time where I actually start really taking the volume off of them, and we start introducing some of our base stuff that I want them to be able to carry with them when they go home for a month. And so at this point, it's like, hey, we know we can run an 8K. If you feel good, let's get out there. Let's get out there and go for it. Otherwise, let's stay in base, let's tempo, and make sure we get across the line so we can get that team score, because they're setting the groundwork for what I'm going to use as a baseline for the group next year. And and they all understand that task. So I think just getting that team score. I held a kid out that was having some meniscus issues, so we didn't get that team score that we wanted. But it was nice seeing my number 4 guy run a heck of a lot faster. I was like, oh, and that was number 3 guy wasn't in there. So for us, it's leaning into their goals. Because typically what I do for a group like this is they'll run a 10K and I'll take the 8K split, and they'll be like, what? I say, yep, gotta love the growth. And so that's kind of what we're gonna do. The kids are excited. They're just ready to go have fun. I told them they all get their own room. They're like, what? And so,
I'm in.
so it's really, I've been asked the question like, how I go into developing people and how I've moved people from A to B in some big moves. Is just that protect their mind. And that's exactly what I've been doing this week. It's just protecting their minds and not letting them think too big. And of course, never letting them be down in the dumps. It's keeping it nice and steady all the way through. And so, and I think that rings true from the lowest level, to the highest level of an elite athlete. So that's the approach that we take. And for us, for them to cross the line, be happy. Like they've already been talking about the poses that they're going to make when they cross the line. And I'm like, hey, I'm with it.
Nice. Coach, geographically speaking, where is Highland in Kansas?
Highland is about an hour and 22 minutes outside of Kansas City, Missouri.
Okay.
Like the KC Metro.
Yep.
So we're out here in the farmland. There's a nice view of all the crops that are currently being harvested. These last few weeks, and we're about 38 minutes from St. Joseph, which is like where the Chiefs training facility is.
Okay.
Where they go for preseason, in Missouri, and we're about 3 hours from Wichita.
Okay. So word on the street is that the course in Colby is relatively hilly. Have you been able to replicate some hills and some challenges that you're going to see on Friday?
I mean, we've actually over the last 10 days, we've actually taken a break from hills. I've actually been loading them up in the van and driving them 35 minutes to do their tempo and all this stuff flat, because we have nothing but hills, left, right, center. It doesn't matter where you go. So they're overly acclimated.
Nice.
Rich, we are learning a lot about Kansas tonight.
I mean, it might need to go on the list, Jim.
Yeah, we might need to check it out because, like Rich said to some of the other coaches we spoke to, we've driven I-70 a bunch through Kansas, and it looked pretty flat to us. So we'll definitely want to see the hills. Coach, you mentioned coming from a Division I program, and we all know it's a little bit different in the Jayhawk Conference in Kansas, but us being from New Jersey junior college guys, there was a stigma of junior college athletics. Do you feel you're recruiting at the Division I level, you're able to kind of break that stigma, bringing new recruits in to the junior college level?
Yeah, I think, my route is kind of like the opposite of a lot of coaches. A lot of coaches have goals and aspirations of getting out of JUCO and moving up to the NCAA level. Versus for me, this is year 17 for me of coaching in general. This is about year 13 or so as a collegiate coach, 13 or 14. I've coached Division I for, I don't know, 8 or 9 of those. And so being able to talk to prospective student athletes about the pathway for me is super helpful. And also, having coached high school and had some kids that were not very good kids, like couldn't even qualify for their own state meets, and now they've moved on to P4s and things like that, to kind of polish it all up to showcase the development. And then I'm also taking a different approach than some junior college coaches. My thought process is, hey, if you can run well enough and the school wants you and you're a freshman, leave. And I'm offering up my entire roster. I understand, yes, that means I have to bring in a whole new roster, but I also understand the state of college athletics at the NCAA level. And if you get an offer, the offer's not there in a year.
Mm-hmm.
And if the offer is there, it's significantly less. Because track and field is going to be one of the sports that will be still giving out partials. Just because they can give out 45, there's only a few select schools that have that budget. We saw what the SEC did. They undercut it by 10. And so that tells you everything you need to know right there, with the state of college athletics. And it's hard.
Coach, is there anything about the program or Highland that we haven't covered that you want our audience to know?
Yeah, I think our college has the absolute best facilities in the Jayhawk conference for sure, and one of the best in the country, I believe. So I'm just now walking outside of my office just so you can kind of get an idea. But one thing that we have, especially because it gets cold, is, as you see behind me,
Oh,
six
yeah.
as a 6-lane indoor track. We can throw in here, we can do everything we need to do in here. We have a weight room area right there off behind.
Nice.
Heck yeah.
That if you want to get away from distractions and you want to focus and master your craft so you can try to move on to a higher and better level, there's no other place to do it than out here in the middle of the farmland, that in a place facility wise that has everything that you need. And right out that back door is the outdoor track. And right out the front door are our apartments. But I think it's a guarded secret. And that's something that I'm trying to change. I'm trying to get people to campus so they know, hey, people walk in the door, they're like, oh, you have this? Yes, we do. Yes, we do. And we're the only school in the Jayhawk conference that doesn't have to be outside running in the snow. If it's too hot, we're inside. If it's too cold, we're inside. If it's raining, we're inside. Anything outside, if it's bad air quality, we can be inside. It's super nice. It's awesome. It's something that I'm definitely taking advantage of. We're going to spend a lot of time in lane 6 this winter. I've already kind of marked it both ways, both directions, so we can flip. But I just think great things can happen here. Obviously, we don't have all of the funding that some of the junior colleges have, but the kids that come here definitely will be well equipped.
Well, Coach, it was a great conversation. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for showing us the facilities, and best of luck with the rest of the season and to infinity and beyond.
Thank you. You guys take care. Bye-bye.
Have a great night, Coach.
Good
Good
one.
luck Friday.
Thank you.
On to the next one, Rich.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is 8:20. We are checking in with Juliette Rios from Garden City. The men are ranked 9th and the women are 13th.
Coach,
Hi,
how we doing?
good. How are you? Thank you for having me.
Good. Thanks for joining us this evening. How is the team looking so far this year?
Oh, it's been a great year. It's been great. Yeah.
Who do we need to keep an eye out on going into the conference meet on Friday?
On the women's side, we have Miriam May. She's a sophomore. She she's from Morocco, international student. She is all-American on a few events on the track side. So I'm looking to see she's going to be an all-American for sure. So. And on the men's side, we have Thaddeus. He's a transfer from Hutch. He's a sophomore. He had a personal best time this past race, and we've been looking at another one coming up this Friday. So yeah.
Coach, where geographically is Garden City in Kansas?
We are about 2 hours from Oklahoma, maybe less than an hour from Colorado. We're like in that weird corner, Southwest Kansas, they call it. So we're like 2 hours from Colby. Yeah.
Okay. Have you guys been able
Yeah.
to replicate the hills that we've heard you guys are going to encounter on Friday?
We have access to the golf course in town, so that has been a good thing to use. But I definitely had to search when I first started here. That was the first thing that says like if you're gonna need a hill, you're gonna have to either make one or find one somewhere. But I made it work. So the golf course has been a tool that we've been using a lot. So
Yeah, that's a unbelievable asset as a cross country coach to have access to a
yes,
golf course. I would give my pinky for a golf course as a high school cross country coach right about now.
yes, definitely useful.
Coach, so you said the season's been going good. Has there been any ups and downs, or has it been straightforward so far?
Uh, I expect a point in the season where things don't go as planned. But there's usually a part in the season where we go through some pretty intense training. We're trying to figure some things out. We're trying to get fitter and stronger. So usually I call it one of those weeks where we race through it. So that's the week of a double threshold, and that usually falls on the week of the chili pepper. So the men's being AK, women's 5K, the trainings look significantly different. The men's side, we struggle a little bit on that race, but I told them so on Monday. So they knew it and we still did okay. It was hard. I wouldn't say hard, but it was what we were gonna do next. So following that meet coming up from Fort Hayes, we definitely all PR'd. So I was like, you see, like we're moving forward. We're just gonna have to either make a decision when we have a bad race, what are we gonna do? Are we going to just determine the rest of our season based on that race, or are we going to continue following the process and trusting the training and seeing where that leads us? And they trusted, and we went to Fort Hayes, and time showed our fitness, and we're ready to see what happens next. So, but the women so far, uh, it's been pretty smooth, and I think a lot of it has to do with the sophomores didn't have a full team last year, and coming in this year, we have 10 women, 9 that are competing, and that has changed the chemistry of training groups. No one's training alone, so they have gotten a lot of unity as a team, and it has done well for them.
So you mentioned a double threshold, Rich. I'm going to steal your thunder on this. Coach, how have the kids adapted to the double threshold and how's it going?
So the thing I love about JUCO is because I get a lot of students that don't really understand the running sport. They don't understand what threshold is. They don't understand the difference between tempo and threshold, and when to take it easy or not. So it wasn't something we started off doing. We I've I communicate a lot with them, probably too much. So when in the beginning of the season, when I would explain things like zone levels and VO2 and all those things, I was like, there's going to be a point in the season where we're going to do 2 sessions in one, and they're going to be almost at max effort, but not quite yet. So a little bit of like, well, what are you talking about? When we did it, they were surprised on how good they felt. They're like, this isn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. So um, definitely a big pillar to what we've done. We don't do it, and I think we've only done it twice this season. Nothing that we touch on very much, but we definitely see benefits from those.
Do you have a key? Is there a key bread and butter workout at Garden City?
Uh, I don't how do I say this? I have never replicated a workout. I think I'm very like I really reflect on 2 weeks prior and what we need. So I have never looked back at training. It's really like um how do I, so for example, if we had a meet where we weren't running as a team, we do a team session where we're partnering up and we're running and we're trying to start 100 meters ahead, catch that person sort of deal. So my training is really on like what we need to work on. And but I think there's been one session I have kept similarly. I call it, and I made this work on myself, it's called a phantom workout. When I write that on the paper, the kids freak out because they kind of already know what the concept is. They don't know the amount of time they're running the pace for. And they just have to stop and go at a whistle. And it's a really huge mental workout because there's nothing that annoys you more than to know how long am I running this rep for. So that has, and they end up running better than they expect, So that workout is one of my own that I've created myself. So
Coach, I did a similar workout like that my freshman year in college in track and field where we were on the track and it was a timed effort. And the coach had a whistle. We didn't know if it was going to be a 30-second go, a 90-second go, or a 3-minute go, but we were supposed to, be running the same pace for all three of those time domains. And yeah, the unknown and unknowable can be
yeah.
quite a challenge for the mind.
Yes, yes.
Did you find it through that workout that some kids were tougher than you thought and some kids weren't as tough as you thought?
Yes, yes. Um there is students that get how do I like in the beginning of the session they're like, oh, like this is gonna suck, and I'm just like, I like just take it as it is, just do your thing. And then they end up like, Coach, I got close to my race pace in this workout and it felt so much easier than it did in the race before. It's like because I know you can do it. It's just a matter of just like trusting your body and doing it. So that workout was leading up to I think it was Nebraska. I think it was our second, third meet. And they went into that meet and they didn't even care about the watch. They were just running and competing because they know that you can't control a lot of the things in a race. You just have to be competitive and understand your body and what you can do. So yeah, it was helpful for sure.
So we know the Jayhawk conference is probably one of the toughest in JUCO. What does success look like on Friday for the men's and women's teams?
This is my third season here in Garden. Starting off with only 6 men and 4 women my first year to now. Not to discredit the seasons prior, but I have never been so excited. I think that the unity that this team has is so unique. Obviously, I might sound biased because they're my group, but I do think that we have cooked up something really good, and everyone is excited. So I think that we're definitely going to show more than what has been shown already. Yeah.
Is that just kind of like a time thing of creating the culture and building the culture, or has there been like almost like a team aha moment where it all kind of clicked and things started to change?
Yeah, so um not to say too much, we haven't had smooth sailing with other things, so um through those things the connection and growth has gotten stronger through coaches to athlete. I am a coach that emphasizes a lot on team culture. I think we can't get anywhere without that. So when I recruit and I get students in, I first thing I ask is what is it that you need in a team? What do you want in a team? It's really not about the times that you're coming in with. It's like what are you going to do for the team? And I think alone everybody, if we're not having fun, then like what are we doing? Like we can run fast, we can win things, but it's not about you, it's about the team. So that environment that we have, it has gotten us to where we're at today. So um yeah.
What are some of the keys to having fun in cross country? Because I'm working on that with my student athletes at the high school level.
Uh, you see that now you got me. Um, no, I think it's to remind them on what we're doing and why we're doing it. I think there is a part in the season where we get tired, we were mentally like it just becomes a little bit repetitive, like, and then you start seeing that energy go down a little bit. And then I bring up, you know what? We're not going to race this week. And there was a time in the season where we were supposed to go to Colorado and we didn't. I was like, you know what? We're going to have Saturday off. Well, we're going to have a really great fun session on Friday. And then I think that kind of refreshed their minds a little bit. And then they were a little bit more anxious to race. So those accommodations I'm really open to doing because I do want them to still enjoy this. So if I ever feel like a little bit of a burnout, I'm like, okay, you know what? Let's take a step back. Let's remember what we're building up for. And it has worked so far. And we do a lot of team bonding exercises. I like to joke around and have fun. I'm not as cut and dry. But I do tell them like if this relationship will continue if you just show up and work hard and we'll have fun the remainder of the season. So
You said this is your third season, and this postseason is the most you've been excited. What have been some of the biggest hurdles for you in those 3 years?
the so like I mentioned, I didn't have a full men's or women's team when I first started. I actually got hired a week before move-in day. So I had to rebuild it in a sense. I had zero experience. I was a GA prior to this position, so I didn't have anything to sell to recruit. So that was probably like my biggest emphasis. Like, you know what, recruiting is going to be like one of my top things. I need to just get straight into it. And going from 6 men and 4 women to 12 men and 10 women has been a huge accomplishment of mine. And also doing it for the team because I know how important it is to have bigger groups to train with too. So that was probably like the biggest thing, seeing them all move in and having a team meeting where I would have to literally remember faces and names was really fun and exciting to this day too.
Do you have goals for the program going forward, or is it all here and now?
Yes, there's definitely want to keep the roster majority local. And I want to keep those local kids in the championship level. I do love my internationals and I always want to have internationals in the team, but I think it's also important to keep that door open for those that are local. So my fifth guy, he's from Holcomb, which is a local town here in Garden City. And that I just feel like that also is just a good representation of Southwest Kansas. So that's something that I always want to continue on. And I think more than half of my group is either from Texas, Colorado, or Kansas, which are local states. So that's something that I always want to keep in the picture. And it's hard to do when most of the teams are like 90% international. But I think it speaks a lot with having that representation as well.
Coach, Jimmy and I are both junior college All-Americans, and we hold the junior college experience near and dear to our heart. We were both at Division III colleges, and in New Jersey, there's quite a bit of a stigma around students going from high school to the junior college level, let alone athletes going that route. So what is the key to getting local athletes to come in and be a part of that experience? I know the Jayhawk conference is in a level all on its own, but what's the key to keeping local talent home?
So I definitely want to emphasize to them about the opportunities that we do have, like the I asked them like, what is your ultimate goal by the end of your college career? What is it that you want to do? And we get into that conversation and I'm like, I I would love you here. And honestly, like I think that we can get you somewhere even better or a better opportunity at that school if we can work together and get to this point. So I also tell them about the representation. I want you to help represent our program and show where you're from and then get you to that four-year institution on better money and also the affordable part of it plays a huge contribution. I think Garden City, Kansas is one of the cheapest junior colleges in the Jayhawk, I think. So those are things that I do mention. And also it's nice to just commute, drive home and come back, save you a little bit of money. But the concept of like I do and I always tell them like I want to get you there, just help represent where you're from and we'll get you to where you need to go for sure.
Coach, for our audience who might just know Garden City from Netflix and and watching Last Chance U, What do people need to know about Garden City as a whole?
You know, last time that I was here before I got hired, it was actually at a region meet, and all I remember is that I died because I went JUCO. So that was the one big number that I had to say Garden City. But it's it's a it's a really tight community, and that's why I'm still like I'm from San Antonio, Texas. I come from a massive city, so here I feel like there's a really close connection with the community to the college, and the support system that they show to the college sports is tremendous. Football games and volleyball games, it's just really nice to see that unity between sports as well, which is not very common. Usually there's bias with football and other sports, but here we're all very supportive of each other and the coaching staff. So that's something that I think is very special. I coming from different institutions that have not seen that happen, it's very special to me. So
You mentioned that unity, and we know that's a big thing. Is there a little bit of, for the kids and for you, of wanting to be the best program out of all those great programs?
yes, I'm very competitive on in the classroom and in the sport. So I do emphasize on trying to get the best GPA on the campus. That's like one of the things that, and I think on the women's side it was second, and the men's was the best men's sport cross country was on the GPA side. So that's something that I always push for. But on the sports, I always tell them like, hey, like we're on the men's side, we're ninth nationally. You know, that's top 10, guys. That's a big deal. And yeah, so we're definitely up there. I think we are I think football was seventh nationally, so we're like the second best nationally ranked team. I don't know if they're still seventh, but yeah.
So you mentioned having high GPAs, and Rich had other options besides junior college. I didn't because I was not a student. So what is the key to having um, junior college athletes that have high GPAs?
The work ethic. I tell them the personality or the habits that you create will leak into anything that you do. If you're waking up late and not showing up to class, I will expect you to show up late to practice at some point. You know, you cannot have a split personality with those two things. It has to come into one. You need to have those same habits in anything that you do. So your homework needs to be done when it needs to be done. Same thing as your session. If I say it's due at 9 in the morning, it's due at 9 in the morning. So I hold them accountable with that because it will benefit them after sports, after college. Like you're expected to be on time to work, those kind of things. So those are the things I want to prepare them for the Division 1, 2, or 3 NAIA level, which those expectations are still there, as well as they're adulting. I mean, they are adults, you know, and they're young adults, and those are habits that are better to just start off having now than later when you're thrown into the wolves and have to figure it out on your own. So.
Yeah, it's funny how often you have to tell kids that like these are lessons that are going to carry you through in life. Like sport teaches you how to be a better human all around, whether it's
Yeah,
punctuality, being on time, showing up at work, you can't miss practice, you can't miss work. Like you miss work when you're an adult, guess what? You don't have a job. And then you've got a whole
exactly.
other can of worms you've got to deal with. Coach, I'm curious, we're in championship week, maybe not necessarily completely tapering down because we got nationals coming up, but are there any non-negotiables this week for the athletes?
Yeah, this is the week where they kind of, I wouldn't say pick and choose, but I'm a lot more lenient on things. There was a tempo we did today, and it's way farther. Like it's a little bit slower than our usual tempo. It's meant to feel like a breeze, but it's not an easy run. And it was one of those days. I was like, you know what? If you feel like you just need mileage today and just run, then let me know. It's one of those things where like you just do what you need to do, you know. But there's still structure to it. But it's also like I just need you to be prepared for Friday. And yeah, they feel good about that. You're like, oh, I worked so hard and I finally get to choose what I want to do, sort of deal. So it's a reward. But we are in our tapering phase now. Yeah.
And I'm not looking too far ahead because we do have championship this weekend, but when we get to Fort Dodge, will there be some Garden City athletes running the half marathon as well?
Yes, I did it myself as a JUCO athlete, and I remember that being one of my staple moments of my career. We did it last year. We actually went in with just the mentality of having fun. On the women's side, I think we got 6 out of 25 teams, and the men got fifth out of 30 teams. and we weren't even in there with strategy. We were just having fun. So this year I want to have the same approach, but I definitely told us like, hey, if we are wanting to do it, I think we can do something good on it, you know? So yeah, we have a bigger group of kids who have gone higher in mileage, the sophomores coming in. So I think they're excited for it too. They've done it last year, so it'll be their second year doing it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Coach, thank you so much for your time tonight. Can't wait to watch Garden City at the Jayhawk Conference, at Nationals, in the half marathon. So best of luck to you and the team.
Thank you. I appreciate your time, guys.
Good
Thank
luck,
you.
Have a
Coach.
great night.
Appreciate it.
All right, Rich, on to the next one.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're coming in with Trey Burton from Neosho County College. Bruton.
Coach, how we doing tonight, sir?
Doing all right. How are you guys?
Great. Well, one quick thing. How do you pronounce your last name?
It's Bruton, Bruton. It's Bruton. It's, a lot of people say Burton, but it's Bruton.
I did that just before you got on here, Coach. I missed the R there.
It's okay. It happens. So that's the most common mistake. So
Well, Coach, thank you for joining us tonight. I kind of have a little bit of a thorn in my side from Neosho because at junior I was a wrestler, and
oh,
my only junior college loss was for in the quarterfinals and in for third place, and it was to a Neosho wrestler. So
oh man.
that's how I will always know Neosho. But I won't
Yeah.
hold it against you, Coach.
Okay, thanks.
How has the season been going so far?
Oh gosh, it's been a roller coaster. We've been battling lots of sickness, different injuries, just not like everybody hitting on the same day, any of that stuff. So uh it's been challenging this year to put all the pieces together. We've got a men's team anyway. Our women's team, just like I said, been beat up and sick, and one of our best girls is sick, and she's probably not going to be able to uh, run this week. So that's going to be a hard thing for us on the ladies' side to recover from. But the guys' side, we've got the ability. It's probably, I've told the guys this too. It's probably the best team that we've ever had since I've been here in terms of raw potential, but we haven't hit on the same day. So we're hopeful that we're going to hit on the same day this week and they're all going to run well. I think we've prepared well. Our week's been good. So we're excited. And I think that hopefully we'll do well. I think I've also told them, this week, based on the predictions for weather, the course and being in Western Kansas, I told them more importantly than worrying about their times this week is just getting out there and racing the other teams that we're trying to compete with and earn that top 25. We're not funded super well in terms of scholarships and whatnot. So trying to compete at the very top is not really in our cards, but how we've been successful is through development here and everything and trying to close that gap. And I think we got a good chance to close the gap on some of those teams that are in the top 25 right now. We were in the top 25, fell back out a little bit here recently, and we're hoping to scare some of those teams or maybe beat some of them as well too. In our region, as you guys know, it's pretty stacked competition wise.
So you mentioned that roller coaster of a season. How do you maintain and stay positive and keep focus when everything's going all over the place?
Yeah, I think for us in terms of training wise, I've kind of had to learn to adapt more. Like every year I have to adapt things. It's a different team, different group. Some years have gone really well in terms of progression. Last year was probably the least talented team that I had, and we had the best progression. They have the second fastest team time last year. And this group's got right now has got our third fastest team time ever, but we've not all, like I said, hit on the same day. So I think just having to adapted things and learning, like we changed our warm up routine a little bit, which I've done for years in terms of coaching wise. We changed our warm up routine a little bit because I just felt like the kids were flat before the races, and it's like we got to do something to get us to not be flat before the races, And so that kind of this last week we kind of test ran that. We did a little meet kind of more for practice than anything this last week, but and it went pretty well for us. So I think, just having to adapt some things in training. We've had the best workouts we've ever had too this season. It's just hadn't translated to the course yet. So I have learned some things that maybe we were using a little too much in practice and exerting ourselves too much in the week. So we've kind of honed some things back recently, and the kids look a lot better. They look smoother, and we've gotten rid of some of our injury bugs and stuff recently too. So that's been one way. I think the other thing is just we've tried to add in some fun things for the kids to do recently too, to just kind of keep the morale up and stuff, and them to feel confident in themselves, as we progress here with the rest of the season. So.
Coach, I'm a high school cross country coach down here in South Carolina, so I'm curious if you don't mind sharing what are some of those fun things, because we're getting down towards the championships part of the season as well, and I can see that we're maybe looking a little stale. So I'm trying to rack my brain for fun things to spice it up a little bit.
So I don't know, it's kind of controversial probably, but like today's our what we call our Pavo Day, so based off of Pavo Nerney, famous runner. But anyway, we do an interval, kind of a short interval session, a couple days out from the meet that's not super taxing on the body. But then afterward, like today, we played ultimate frisbee, which is kind of controversial. People get twisted ankle, whatever, if they get too competitive, whatever. So we threw in, we've thrown in that. We've done a relay before where we have this big, massive Connect Four, and we kind of have done a team relay of the Connect Four pieces are 400 meters this way, and you got to go get a Connect Four piece, and only one person at a time can do it, and do a loop basically. And so, kind of getting the team involved in okay, we're going to do kind of this for maybe our 400 day in terms of sprints wise, not really sprints, but they're going at a faster pace, kind of intervals side of things with a recovery in between. And so they have these groups, and we've done Connect Four. Just, I don't know, mixing some of that stuff in I felt like has helped here the last couple of years anyway, just on occasion. We don't do it every week by any means, but just to throw it in. Like I said, like today was the ultimate frisbee thing, and the kids really loved it, and they seemed a lot more excited afterwards. So doing some of that stuff. I think also we did, when we went through our warm-up stuff here, we kind of made a competition with the team in terms of okay, who can do the best warm-up kind of deal. And we split the team into a couple groups, and it's we let them lead everything. The kids lead everything. A lot of times in practice stuff before practice and everything, the coaches, we lead through the warm-up stuff, a lot of routine, a lot of times. Because we run, our coaching staff here, we run with the team almost every day, just to keep in shape and keep pushing them. And if I can do it, you can do it kind of deal. So I think that was kind of fun for them. It was a little competition. So mixing stuff in that's maybe a little competition, that they're still they're getting everything that they need, and we kind of judged them. And then the team that won, we were okay, well, we'll get you guys a Sonic drink or something like that, So just kind of mix some of that kind of stuff in, I guess.
Do you find when you run with the kids, they're a little bit quieter than when you're not with them?
Do what now?
When you run with the team, are they a little bit less talkative than if they were by themselves running? Because my kids don't say a word when I run with them.
Really?
Yeah.
No, my kids
you guys are quiet.
Yeah, my kids probably talk more, I think.
Okay.
At least, when I run with them, they end up talking more, I think. It's interesting. I feel like a lot of them too, in terms of at least obviously at the collegiate level, I think some of them respect that a little bit, because it's it's not just the coach that's over here telling them, okay, we're going to do 6 repeat miles out here, and they're just come on, run faster. You're not running fast enough, that feeling. And then they're well, you get out here and do it kind of deal,
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm out there doing it with them, and they're there's nothing they can say. It's oh shoot, coach is beating me. I can't let him beat me, that's not acceptable.
Yeah.
So,
Coach, you ever have some drag them out races with the kids? Like you said, they don't want you to let them beat them.
Oh, sometimes, yeah. On occasion, some workouts at the end, at the end, toward the end of the workout, whatever. With some of our guys, they'll be trying to push, and I'm like, well, I'm not going to let you beat me. Like, again, I've had a couple too. Like, we have all levels. We've got kids that are fairly talented, and I've got kids here just because the way I recruit and everything. I'm looking for just kids that want an opportunity, want to work hard. Come here, be good teammates, and develop. And so we've got kids here that never ran like on our team. They would never get an opportunity anywhere else for the most part. Had kids this year that started out the year on our guys team that had never run under 23 minutes in a 5K, and so I've been ahead of them. But then some of these workouts, they've been like, really on the last rep, they're like creeping up on me, trying to pass me, and I'm like, well, no, I don't want to let you beat me. So it's like I'm gonna kick hard here and not let you kick me down, So some of that stuff. But yeah, they get a little competitive, I think, at times. And I think it's good for them on occasion too. Sometimes it's probably a little too much. So sometimes I've actually even had to like back off a little bit. Like, hey, I know if I push too hard here, then these guys are going to go too hard, and then it's not going to be good for the race on the weekend, So
Mhm.
I've had to do that a couple times too. And normally I don't tell them that, but on occasion I've told them. But most of the time I don't tell them. Like, yeah, I could have kicked you down, but I didn't want to overdo it here. So
Coach, who do we need to keep an eye out on at the Jayhawk conference, and what does success look like to the team this weekend?
yeah, I think I mean, it's for individuals wise, I think on the men's side, I would say obviously our top two that have been up there the whole year, Noah Laird and Dinner Dos Santos, both of them are um, should be able to have pretty good races. And I know he's still chasing after the school record in terms of team time. Obviously, different courses, different things. Like this year, we've not run courses that have uh, helped him to look toward working towards that goal because they've not been courses where you're going to run fast PRs most of the time. So he's still alluding to trying to get to that. So I know he's really after that and he's wanting to have a good race. So those two for sure. A couple of our guys right behind them. One of our returners from last year, Jaden Perry. He's had again the roller coaster ride. He's in the best shape he's ever been in. You look at his VO2 max. You look at all of his stuff on his stats in terms of his heart rate's way lower this year than it was last year in terms of some of the intensities and stuff. So he's in better physical shape. He just hasn't had that race yet to click, and I'm hopeful that it'll be this week because to be honest, he's got the potential. He could be our number one runner too, even though he's not even been close. So he could do pretty well. And if him and Oliver, one of our other kids, Oliver Cabana, if those two click, we'll have a pretty good day with our other guys. So that'd be pretty awesome on the guys' side. Ladies' side, like I said, I don't know. We might not even end up with a full team potentially. We're, had some sickness again this week and stuff that are probably going to hold a couple of our ladies out. So we'll see on the ladies' side what we'll end up with in the next couple of days. But our top two girls, Bethany Barger and Melania Turaga, she's from Fiji. Both of them have had pretty good seasons, and I think they could both break 20 minutes in the 5K, which for us would be pretty successful. We've only had two other girls in school history break 20 minutes in the 5K. We're excited to see if they have an opportunity to do that this week. We have institutional standards for nationals as well. So they've both hit what would qualify them for us to go to nationals. For them to run individually, same way with Noah and Dinner. So I think success for us this week on the guys' side, there's like we're looking to try to compete with Cloud County and Dodge City. Like those are our two teams that are ranked, just inside the top 25, and they're two teams that I think we can match up with and we can race. And hopefully that's our goal for the guys. It's like I'm not going to keep it a secret. That's who we want to beat. So that's who we're going after. On the ladies' side, if we run a full women's team, it would just we'd be happy with getting the full women's team out there finally because like I said, part of the roller coaster ride this season is like every one of our ladies has run at some point this season, but we've not run more than 4 on any given day. So it's just like we've got to get 5 out there somehow. And so that would be a win for us. And then if we can beat anybody, then that would be, next thing. I think if we were out there and we're doing well, I think we could compete with Colby, who's ranked 25th right now. I think we could beat Coffeyville. So those are kind of for the ladies. If we end up with a full team, that would be our goals, to be shooting for those two teams and competing against them. So
Was the challenge of the Colby course, was that what had determined the challenge of your schedule leading into it?
I think a little bit this year. Obviously, so we ran Missouri Southern and it ended up being a little bit short this year. Anyway, so that helped with the times looking earlier in the season. That's why our guys got ranked, to be honest, is because it was a little bit shorter because they cut off a loop that they shouldn't have cut off. And so anyway, besides the point, but it's a kind of a hilly course and stuff. And I know Colby's it's not like super hilly, but it's not like, we're going to Western Kansas. Elevation's a little bit higher than we're used to here in Southeast Kansas. The weather conditions normally are not going to be great a lot of times. And this year it looks like the wind's not going to be too bad. Temperatures are going to be nice, but it might be rainy, which I feel like our guys and gals are pretty prepared for that, just because we have a lot of that here too. So, but yeah, I think that was part of the plan for this year was knowing that last time. So my first year here in terms of coaching cross country regionals was at Colby, and I did not prepare the team that year for regionals at Colby, and we did not have a good day. And I also made coaching mistake that morning. I told them, because of the way the wind was and stuff, I told them, okay, let's hang back. Hang back a little bit more and be a little conservative early on. And we didn't get in the race ever, and so we were just completely out of the race last time we were there. So this time it's been more of okay, we've prepared. Nationals in Fort Dodge as well is another reason, because it's going to be probably cold and windy, and they've got a couple decent sized hills on that course as well too. So it's not like this flat fast track courses. So we kind of tried to avoid that this year. Obviously, it's our home course here, super flat, but it's not exactly easy. It's got a lot of turns and stuff that can slow it down, as well as this year where we start at, they had a new mowing crew, and they didn't really mow down the first 400 meters of each loop very well. So we it was a little slow here too for our home meet this year. And 2 years in a row, it's been almost 90 degrees for our home meet, and it's first part of October and it's almost 90 degrees. I'm like, what are we doing? So, but yeah, I think that played a factor into the schedule this year a little bit for us. And last week's meet, we ended up running at Baker last week. And their course sets up very similar to regionals in terms of 2.5 loop course for the guys and a loop and a half basically for the ladies. And so we we kind of added that, kind of like I said, as a practice, so to speak, but also just okay, we're needing a little bit of a spark, and we need to test some things out. So we kind of added that last minute. We weren't really planning on that one. So.
Coach, is there anything about the team or the school that we haven't covered that you want our audience to know?
I think we've covered most of it. I think that, like I said, what we look for here that's different than most schools is like I said, I want good kids that want to be here, want to work hard, kids that want an opportunity to get better, and development. That's our biggest thing here. Like if you look at a lot of our previous years, the student athletes, where they came in at and where they finished at, in terms of I've had multiple kids that say on the guys side for 8K, they're over a mile ahead of where they were at as a freshman in a 2-year span. It's wow, you got so much better in a 2-year span. And we take wins from that as much as we do as the guys that, can run 25, 26 minutes in an 8K, on the guys side. Same way with the ladies. If we can get our top girl this year, she didn't run under 22 minutes in high school, and she's run almost right at 20 flat, so it's where she's already knocked off 2 minutes from high school to now, so that's kind of, that's how we compete too, is getting those kids that were maybe overlooked and didn't get the opportunities at the schools that have more money, that have, more facilities and access to things, and giving them an opportunity and helping them develop. And then I've been pretty lucky on some of those years, especially when we get to track season with like our 4x8s and stuff like that, getting those kids that run 205 and an 800, having them running cross country, developing them in terms of base and all the stuff that we do, getting them to run fast. We've put together some pretty good 4x8 teams that have qualified each year for nationals, and so that's just like for our program itself. Cross country and distance running is a big passion of mine. I've been doing it for quite a few years. The kids, I guess, one fun fact that they're always just super surprised about. I've been running at least a mile a day for over 17 years now. And they're like, holy cow, they're like, well, how do you do that? Like, why are you doing that? And it's like, well, I just love the sport and love being around it and stuff. So they're just always like, oh my goodness. And then I've been last couple of years, they've been pestering me because I've run a couple ultra marathons here, a local we have a local ultra marathon. And so they, like, the last couple of years, they've been coming down, they were cheering for me running in the ultra marathon. And I'm like, you guys need to just like go take a nap, you got your long run in this morning, go take a nap and let me run here, But no, they really liked our program. The kids sat together at lunch. It's not something I had to force them into doing, any of that kind of stuff. They typically develop a pretty tight knit group here. It's typically, family. Like our team motto, so to speak, at the end of every practice, we get together. I talk to them about things that went well, things that didn't go well, different things. We just try to fix things and leave things out there like, okay, this didn't go so well today. We're going to leave it out there. We're going to move on and we're going to get better next time, but talk about those things. And we break down at the end of practice and at the end of meets, before they race, all of that stuff. And our motto, so to speak, is we say Panthers on 3 and then family on 6, because our ultimate goal is to be a family here and have that family atmosphere. So I think that's, for us is just, again, getting the kids that want to be here, work hard, develop and get a lot better and help each other. It's a lot more fun that way when you've got good kids and they're pushing each other, because some of them get to heights that they never even knew they were capable of doing. It's amazing what some of them can accomplish. I had a kid, like I said, 217, 800 runner. He ran 157 for me by the time he graduated, and that was just his dedication and work ethic to get better. And it's just like, man, like that's big wins for me, here. We're never going to be able to compete at the elite level. It's just not in the cards for us in terms of funding or any of that kind of stuff. So we do the best with what we got. And I feel like we do more here, with a lot less than some other programs get. So.
Amen.
Well, Coach, you got me fired up. I appreciate your time tonight. Best of luck to you and the Panthers this weekend. Hopefully, we'll be putting good vibes out for you. Hopefully, you get all those girls on the line and the men go and do their job. So thank you so much, sir.
Yes, thanks, guys. I appreciate it. You guys have a great rest of your night.
You too. Good luck Friday.
Thank you. Bye.
We got Jafet coming in.
All right. Coach Molinares is joining us again. Where are the questions?
Might be at the top.
Yep.
Hello. Can you guys hear me?
There
we
he
can
is.
hear you. How you doing, sir?
How are you guys doing, man? Good. Thanks.
Awesome.
I've been watching it for the most part, so it's great that you guys get to highlight all these different coaches and programs, just because you might hear from the 1, 2, 3 schools from rankings and all that, but genuinely top to bottom within this region, you just have great coaches and great programs in general.
Yeah, we heard that it's a friendly bunch, unlike the football coaches maybe in the Jayhawk conference.
Yeah, I mean, we're just, old distance runners, man. There's nothing to beef about, you know what I mean?
Right.
Now, of course, like you guys have mentioned, or I forgot who was it, one of them, I think it was Cameron. It's very competitive though. It's very competitive, so that's what makes it pretty fun.
So, Coach, the men are second right now. The women are 8. How's the season treating you?
Pretty good, honestly. I think on our guy side, um, we're in a great spot. We put in a lot of work, and we've been healthy. I think that's the most important part, is we've been healthy. So not only getting in a good amount of mileage and some good work in between, 1 through 7, but have been healthy there. On the girl side, man, I'm almost, I say it all the time. I kind of enjoy coaching my girls a little bit more than the guys. And very excited about this girls group, mainly because we really haven't put up our true five yet. Even within our first meet, we had a decent result, but we had a 400, 800 girl as our number five that didn't have the greatest summer. So our number three, I think, she's from Australia. She hasn't ran, had a stress reaction for quite some time in the summer. And she came back and, we put in some decent work. We did. And, here comes where, I'm very conservative when it comes to training and racing. And, I took her out to Missouri Southern with us. And I'm just like, hey, we won't race, which obviously she was pretty bummed about. And I'm just like, but we'll get a workout in, be in this environment, something different, be around the team and things like that. And, she kind of took a step in a pothole, unfortunately. And, that kind of put us out for another week and a half or two, was put in a boot. But honestly, within the last, few weeks since then, has put in a good amount of work. So I'm very excited about this girls team. Yeah, I mean, at the region level and national level, I know we're ranked eighth, but yeah, I think I wouldn't say podium, but I genuinely think we can compete with a lot of those teams up there.
Coach, what's the key to getting a 400, 800 kid to step up and take on the challenge of running across country? Because I've got a few that fight me tooth
Well,
and nail at the high school level.
right. And, to be quite honest with you, I think at your level and my level is a little bit different, where I'm just
Yeah.
like, hey, here's a scholarship. I will
Yeah.
expect you here at the line. But no, no, no. I know some programs do that. With ours, no, like I've given her the option. I've genuinely given her the option. And the reason I do that, she's on good scholarship and all those things, great athlete, but it's one of those where if an individual doesn't want to be around, then I don't want them around. I don't
Mhm.
think the team would want them around. They don't want themselves around. So, we've had conversation and, she's a competitor. She's a great, great kid. Um, and no, she wants to be a part of this and wants to go out there and compete. Now, all her training is honestly all 800 training. It's nothing preparing for a 5K. So because of that, we understand quote unquote expectations where, we're over here training through this, trying to be a part of this. Yeah, we could potentially help, but our ultimate goal is obviously getting on the track and running really fast for 400, 800. So yeah, I guess you just got to get lucky. That's my answer. You got to get lucky.
All right. Got to get a rabbit's foot or something then.
Yeah. Right, right.
Coach, who we need to be keeping an eye out on this weekend?
As far as individuals, right, we're speaking of,
Yes, sir.
um, on the men's side, man, our top four run together like every rep. I won't say every mile because some miles are on their own, but every rep that we've done, and yeah, they run together. Our top four, like literally. And I know our top two have, changed as lead runner between three meets, but um yeah, I mean our top four is loaded. But as of right now, Farron Mangelson is an individual that I would say, um, it's hard to say. He's a school record holder. He was beating our 1 and 2 all indoor. He's up there, but just hasn't put the pieces together on our cross country course. And he's an individual that I bet probably ranked 10th, but in our eyes, he's a top 10 guy at nationals, you know? So I'd say him, as far as somebody that, might surprise people, but how do you surprise somebody when we all know what the type of person he is? But I'd say him and, our 5'6", Our 5 is Esteban Oces Campos. He's from Costa Rica, and he's more of a middle distance type guy that has come along and races really smart, really well. And then Dennis. Dennis is, he's had an interesting time as he's got here. Unfortunately, after cross country last year, he finished 10th at the national meet last year, and I don't know how. I mean, it's just how life goes, I guess, because we just couldn't get any answers or anything. But had a plantar fascia issue right after the national meet. I'm talking about didn't have much issues throughout the season, and then literally finished the race, and then literally had to, hobble around campus that following Monday, unfortunately. And to be quite honest with you guys, I've kind of said this out loud a few times, but man, if he was anywhere near the type of individual he was last year, we would be the team to beat. And I could say that confidently because you changed our number 5 for an All-American. I mean, it's just kind of out there. So, but he's come along. He's finally gotten healthy within the summer, put in some decent work. But it's just been so much time off that, it's taken a while. So hopefully we could put the pieces together. I mean, for him, it's about just being healthy. We've went through so much time where some dark times, of course, we all know what injuries come with. And, for us, like, yes, trying to be a part of something that's going to help us. But if we could just stay healthy, we could enjoy things a little bit better. So he's coming along. And then on the girl side, I'd say again, our anticipated number 3 in Molly. I always butcher this at the end. Lovette. Hopefully she's not watching. I might have mispronounced it. She's gonna beat me up or something. But yeah. She should be our number 3, and um, she could turn things around for us pretty quickly. I think within how talented and how great of an individual she is. So I'd say those two, between men and women, those are individuals we're looking forward to.
And then we know the Jayhawk conference is probably the toughest conference in the country, but we've got nationals around the corner. You have a competitive race. Some other people have, I don't want to say cakewalks for conference meets, but they get to set their sights down the road for nationals. Is there a strat? Are we going gangbusters to win the Jayhawk conference title and kind of
Hold on for dear life.
and then circle the wagons next week and get
Yeah,
ready?
honestly, I think you could do that a little bit easier on the track. I mean, you're shorter distance,
Yeah.
not too heavy on you mentally and physically, but on a cross country course, it's a little bit different. Yes, do we have an eye on this? Absolutely. Are we sharpening up for this? Absolutely. But no, the goal, and that's the unique part about JUCO and qualifying, quote unquote, qualifying to a national championship is, it's not like D1, or D2 where you have to go to these big meets and beat some teams. You have to there's a qualifying standard. You have to go through regional championships and qualify through there. We don't got to do that. So because of that, no, our eyes have always been set for that national championship. But we understand the stakes within how competitive this region is and what it takes to potentially win it. Um, but yeah, I mean, in all, I mean, don't want to necessarily sacrifice a national championship for a region championship. But again, that kind of comes with the luxury of the depth that we have in our team.
What did you learn from the battle with Iowa Western that you're going to take into nationals?
We're there. We're there. We're there. We're exactly where we need to be. We're there. I was kind of upset at first. Not so much because we lost to them. I think that, losing stinks, of course, but it's just the fact that we didn't have our A game out there. And, of course, I always put myself to blame first, and why things like this happen. And so at first I was kind of upset mainly at myself, just because I mean, an example is we had a guy that, Esteban Ortega from Colombia. I mean, he's our number 3 from, our second meet, and he's an individual that finished right next to the guy that finished third at that meet. And he actually had some personal stuff going on where, he finished 30th or something, so yeah, we're there. We're there. So that's a very competitive team. We'll never underestimate anybody. We know how competitive they are, and they got the best 1-2 combo in the country. So it was good to kind of for all of us to kind of see that. And on the girl side too. Because they're pretty good on the girl side, and we had our top girl Mildred Rono. I mean, kind of run their girl down that last kilometer, and just didn't have enough juice that last 100 meters. But no, it was a great battle with them. They got a great thing going.
Now we've heard the course of Colby is challenging, um, hilly. We as Jersey guys and have driven through Kansas, we didn't expect to hear people talking about hills when we were talking about a cross country course. But
Yeah.
have you been there at all as a coach? I know they didn't have a meet there this season, but have you seen it in the past?
Yeah, my first year as a cross country coach at Fort Scott, I believe, was when they hosted. I want to say 21.
Hmm.
Yeah, I want to say they hosted in 21 and got to see it somewhat. And just been doing a lot of research on just how individuals from their previous teams that have raced there and at other meets have done, and trying to compare that to one another. And yeah, I mean, it's not going to be an easy course by any means. But yeah, we're prepared. We're prepared.
Is there a spot on the course where you expect to start to see some separation?
From the gun, you know what I mean? Nah, I'm kidding. Yeah, you do that, you might have some trouble the last 7K, right? No, I think there's different goals for both groups. I think on the men's side, it's just the elephant in the room where, we're obviously, favorited and things like that. But yeah, I mean, ultimately, go out there and run hard. And if we're in a pack, then, at least within the last half of the race, just try to take people to the deep end, right? And I think that's what we're built off of, just within a lot of the work that we've done and prepared for. So, yeah, that's kind of their strategy there, at least on the men. I kind of put that out there. It is what it is.
No
I
one's
don't,
listening.
yeah, right. And even if, I mean, no matter what it is, we all, yeah, as far as with Butler, we've had so many battles.
Mhm.
Last year we had every single race together for cross. We see each other all through indoor, all through outdoor. So we both understand what we both have when it comes to racing each other. Um, but then on the girls, yeah, I mean, probably a little bit more strategic in a sense of trying to win our battles and within the groups that we're in. And I think if we're able to do that, then, we could be in a good spot at the end.
I don't know. We love taking people into deep waters, don't we, Jim?
Yeah.
Yeah, we do.
It's like my favorite thing in the world.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, you gotta.
It's fun.
It's a video I sent our team, which was gosh, I forget his name, the Lions coach, and that speech that he had. We've kind of just been or I've kind of been talking to them about that, which obviously pretty cliche and such a motivational speech with you know a sport like this, but yeah, I mean. you you have teams that on the shallow end, and at the deep end you want to be at the deep end, but sometimes you have teams that could be dangerous, and you just got to take them to the deep end, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, that's kind of the goal.
Jafet, last year when we spoke to you, you really opened our eyes to Hutch and the programs there. And we talked to your athletic director in the spring, Josh Gooch.
Yes, sir.
And I've been following the football team. The football team is best in the country right now. How special is it to be part of that program, and how much does that help you raise your level as a coach?
Man, oh, I'm glad you asked that. Yes, absolutely. Great. It starts at the top, right? Josh Gooch is amazing at what he does as far as getting the right people on board and, have vision to, make us all want to be a national championship caliber team, right? But yeah, no, and Drew Dallas, oh man, a great individual. Great individual. I can't speak more highly of him. And a lot of that just has to do with how would I say this? You just have your typical cross country coach, right? It's just what we are. It's just cross country, right? And everyone's athletic department's always about football, right? And you have an individual that, I mean, I kind of spoke about his record last year. I forget how great it is, but rarely loses, right? The guy rarely loses. And you'd expect an individual like him, to just walk around, like he's all that, especially as a football coach, right? Um, but at least within him, no, I mean, anytime, we cross paths, we have conversation and, he doesn't, not just with myself, but within our track team. And, he's not an individual that, yeah, I mean, thinks he's bigger than, what everything is. So, no, he's a great person. And because of that, kind of going back to it is, yeah, absolutely got a chip on my shoulder. They can't be the only team at number one. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Got to be able to raise that standard and be another team. Of course, being in a season where it's football and cross country at the same time, it's very easy to be overshadowed. And because of that, that's where some more drive comes in because of that. So trying to do everything we can to kind of stick out.
Yeah, and something I had mentioned to Josh, and I'm kind of a nerd about this stuff, so I pay attention to it. But your SID does a great job.
Carp, yes,
Your
sir.
guys' social media
Oh
for
yeah.
all the sports nail it better than a lot of Division 1
Oh yeah.
programs.
Oh yeah. Yeah, Steve Carpenter, great individual as well. I don't know how he does it. I genuinely don't know. He'll put out graphics and stuff in the middle of a volleyball game for cross country. Football game will be going on and he'll still manage a way to put, you know, um, a record or anything like that as far as another sport going on. Um, but yeah, no, great SID, great individual, knows our team top to bottom and yeah, no, does really great for Hutchinson athletics.
Coach Josh Gooch, he was saying that the dining halls are pretty top notch. Is that true?
Yeah, I'll agree. Been to a lot of junior colleges, um, and even Division twos around Kansas, and yeah, no, it's up there. It's up there. You have your options. It's not just one line of your one entree. There's definitely a lot of options.
He was promising us a good meal when we make our way
Yeah.
out the hutch.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Please do. You guys will be in a good spot for sure. As far as comparing it to others, yeah.
Coach, are you still crushing those coconut berry Red Bulls?
Uh, I got into the Celsius.
All
Um,
right.
I want to say I've upgraded and doing better in my life. So nah, I'm kidding. Yeah, I'd like to sit here and lie that it's not as bad, but here and there, mainly on morning workouts.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
Yes, sir.
What's your flavor? What's your go-to flavor of Celsius?
Oh man, what is it that it's like a pina colada, like a vibe. Yeah, yeah, it's the pina colada one. Pina
Okay.
colada. Yeah, yeah,
All
yeah.
right. Nice.
Yes, sir.
Jafet, is there anything about the program, the team this year going into the Jayhawk Conference Nationals that we haven't spoke on that you want our audience to know?
Um, as far as region, no, it's going to be a great meet. Top to bottom within every single team, especially those top teams. Haven't really mentioned, but between Garden City and Colby, Cowley, and Cloud. I feel bad if I miss a few others, but there's a lot of teams out there that are going to be very competitive. So that'll be very fun for all of us to pretty much rehearse for the national championship meet, right? But then no, as far as nationals, yeah, I mean it'll be really exciting. I went to Iowa Central, so it's almost could be a Cinderella story.
Homecoming.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And the guys and girls are kind of aware of that. And no, in all honesty, yeah, just prepare for the show. Prepare for the show.
Was D Brown your coach?
Yes, sir. Yeah, great guy.
I,
That's my hero.
I know we're winding down, but do you have any funny D Brown stories?
Um, gosh. Funny. Um, I think at least being an athlete, the one thing that I think of is um when him and Coach Myers, late Denny Myers that had passed away, um, man, that was like the best duo as far as coaching that I've seen. And I've been around and seen it a lot between, head cross, head track, and the definition of good cop, bad cop. I'm talking about, Denny Myers would be the type to cuss us all out, flip tables, flip chairs, and then you just have Coach Brown out there in the background, just, really probably grinning a little bit. But, and I think that's kind of when I think about Iowa Central and when I think about Coach Brown and is just the impact that they were able to make as a unit. And now, of course, Coach Brown himself and what he's done is amazing. But at least as far as when I was an athlete, yeah, those two, that was a duo. That was a duo.
I figured Coach Brown would be the guy flipping tables over now.
Oh no, you would. Oh
He's a good
man,
cop, huh?
what in comparison to Coach Myers? What? I won't go into full detail, but I think he'd still have a job, just because he's in JUCO. But but no, that guy was awesome, man. And with how crazy he was, still everybody knew how much he cared for all of us, so it was very easy to follow suit.
Jafet, you are the man, sir. Best of luck this weekend. Best of luck in nationals. And thank you so much for your time this evening.
Yeah, thank you guys so much again for everything you guys do and being able to highlight our region and yeah, giving us the platform and time to do all this. So yeah, we're very excited and again, thank you very much and hope you guys have a good night.
Thank you, you
sir.
too. We will be glued to our computers on Friday, so we're
Yes,
excited to
sir.
see a fun race.
Yeah, I'll probably forward you guys the link to there's a stream and live results.
Perfect. We
Please.
appreciate it.
Yes, sir. All right, you
Take
guys have a
care.
good night.
Good luck,
Yes,
Jafet.
sir. See you guys.
Yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen, there it is. You have it. The Jayhawk Conference Region 6 breakdown, coaches roundtable, running and gunning tonight. We love doing these. It's great to reconnect with some old friends and meet some new friends and some new potential guests. Yeah, I'm fired up for that. I'm excited for Friday.
I know what I'm doing on Friday. I gotta go to the movies tomorrow because I'm watching the Jayhawk conference on Friday.
Well, the lesson plans are definitely changing because I need to be at my computer from 10 to 11.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. No, I'm excited. It's fun and yeah, it's great to just check in with everyone and hear what's going on and learn a little bit more about the ultra competitive Jayhawk conference and all that it has to offer. And yeah, we'll definitely have to get some of those coaches back on, or all the coaches back on at some point to reconnect and recap nationals, but then also just to learn more about some of the cool schools that they got going on in Kansas.
Yeah, they got some good things going on in Kansas. And mark your calendar for 1 year's time, Richie Rich, because we're going to get some barbecue with Coach Emerson.
Don't tempt me with a good time. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is it for us tonight and for this week. We will be back on Monday evening. And we're going D1 on Monday. We're going to be joined by a Jersey guy who's coaching at Mizzou. Kyle Levermore is going to be joining us. He's going to be talking to us about the Tigers cross country team. They're also hosting nationals. So we will be getting into that as well. And then on Wednesday, Brody Beeler from Indiana Wesleyan will be joining us. I believe they are ranked second on the men's side in NAIA cross country, and I believe the women are ranked as well. So we'll be checking in with our friends at the NAIA on Wednesday night. That is it for us. We hope you have a great